Mr. Valentine, you have come to the Carolinas, and we, I think, have some of the best wrestlers in the world here.
Well, I believe you do. I've looked at the list of wrestlers that are in the Carolinas, and they're very impressive. I like to wrestle where they have good wrestlers and good wrestling, big houses, big arenas. This is what I love because I like tough competition. I like a lot of money piled in those arenas. This is what I'm interested in because I'm a professional. It's great to be in a new area where I've never been before because it's conquering new territories, conquering new worlds.
Well, Mr. Valentine, you conquered quite a few areas in wrestling.
Yes, it's just like Alexander the Great sat down and cried when he had conquered the whole world. He had nothing else to conquer, and this is how it's been for me. I've always looked for new worlds to conquer.
Mr. Valentine, you're a very tall man. Could you tell the folks out there how tall and what your weight is?
Well, I'm 6'4" and 260. This isn't necessarily an advantage because I believe that wrestling talent itself is everything. Size is one of the least important things of the fact. A man can weigh 190 pounds and still be good.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine.
And we are live with the Red Leaf Wrestlecast, episode 28. It's a long time coming. It is post-Wrestlemania weekend, and naturally, this is titled Mania Weekend Madness 2. Yes, the second time we are doing Mania Weekend Madness. Very excited. Because of the way everything was structured, coming out right here and saying this, this is going to focus on more or less the main events, WrestleMania and TakeOver, of course, and then basically the shows I personally attended during this weekend. So episode 29 will be kind of filling in the gaps over the shows that I didn't attend. So, or anything else that really just came out over the last week or so and into next week. So that will be covering the next episode, of course. We'll be covering shows like Bloodsport, Battle Riot, some Dragon Gate shows, Ice Ribbon shows, any matches that really stood out or were recommended to me via Twitter. I put that out there. And Progress Chapter 87, Bread Knife. A lot of promotions are kind of taking a break in between. So that's really what the next episode is going to be focusing on. I'm very excited for that because I'm hearing some really good things out of Battle Riot, really good things out of a couple Ice Ribbon matches. Some people have been really kind enough to say, like, this is where you can find them to watch. Even a WrestleCon USA match was recommended. I'll keep that. More out of White Wolf Wrestling. I always like seeing A-Kid. Heard he had an amazing match against Ospreay. And then Progress Chapter 87, Bread Knife, apparently has the best match in Progress history, so that is something to look forward to in episode 29. But this is episode 28. This is WrestleMania Weekend Madness 2. Holy crap, it was a lot of fun. I had a blast going to all the shows. I went to 4 wrestling shows that just in that little time span. No, I did not go to WrestleMania itself because that is a long show. The tickets are expensive. And met my dad up in New York. We both met up and we kind of came to a consensus. We only want to go to a certain number of shows and had a nice little budget we made. And that's what happened. And for fun, for those shows that we personally went to, I got to interview him. Got his feelings over the shows and matches, so that will come later in the show. So until then, what were my personal thoughts over the shows? I went to the debut episode of Uncharted Territory. Super fun by Beyond Wrestling. I have a blast going to all their shows all the time. I definitely recommend to go check that out on Indie Wrestling TV. You can even sign up for a trial period for a month. So my recommendation is wait till the end of April and then get your free pass, and you can watch 4 to 5 weeks of how Uncharted Territory is. The first episode is a big recommendation from me. lots of stuff happens, storylines going, and I will actually cover solo what Beyond Wrestling Uncharted Territory is, as that's going to hopefully become a new weekly wrestling recap, since I have dropped Impact Wrestling, unfortunately. And why have I dropped Impact Wrestling? Production wise and story wise, it's doing okay. It's getting better. I am kind of tuning in every once in a while, but on this show I will not be covering anymore, because I just really find it 9 times out of 10 the show is boring and not really worth the effort and time, and there's just too much wrestling to cover, and better wrestling, in my opinion, than to waste my time with Impact. That's that story. So let's get into what we're going to discuss on this episode. We got MLW episode 51 from 2 weeks ago. We have Uncharted Territory, which I mentioned. There's a bunch of WXW shows to cover, which includes Road to New York City, 16 Carat Revenge, so the Fallout shows from 16 Carat, and going into the New York show, which I got to attend, so that will be later. 3 Stardom shows: Osaka Night, March 21st, Shinkiba, March 24th, and the Korakuen Hall match, March 28th. And then I went to the Stardom American Dream show in New York. So again, that will be covered in my dad's section. NXT TakeOver New York City, Wrestlemania. Our spotlight is going to be over Johnny Valentine, the second ever NWA US title champion. So that will continue the past wrestler spotlight, covering the US title champions. And naturally, WCW Thunder episode 19, June 14th, 1998, will round out the show. So my thoughts over the WXW Amerika is Wunderbar, their New York show. It was a lot of fun. It was unfortunate that it seemed to me the vibe in the crowd, just more than half the people didn't really know who these guys were. They were just kind of there for the New York Wrestlemania weekend show. They just needed something to kind of fill in the gap. That was on a Thursday night. I vastly enjoyed the show. I thought all the wrestlers did what they needed to do. No match was a bust or a dud. They didn't overbook anything. If I'm being honest, this felt more like a house show than anything that you might get in Germany, but it was a good house show. So I have no regrets going to it. I got to meet Absolute Andy. I got to meet Lucky Kid. Made a nice little joke to Marius Al-Ani, and Absolute Andy gave me a high five. Took a picture together. It was really cool meeting the wrestlers. I met Killer Kelly, Jurgen Simmons. Super fun. I got to talk to CCK and Aussie Open, and Kid Lycos is all healed from a shoulder injury. He was telling me about his Fight Club Pro show, his first match back, and it went very well. So good to hear him being back. I really loved the Joey Janela pop at the end, where he's going to go to Germany and be the contender for the title against Bobby Guns. That's really cool. And the big story is coming out. The other big story is David Starr has quote-unquote quit WXW, and he cut kind of this cool little promo after he lost the match to Lucky Kid, where he called going in business with WWE kind of spineless. No, if you're a fan of indie wrestling, then you're hypocrites if you're rooting for TakeOver, that kind of stuff. So he quit. So where that storyline goes into promotions like Progress or Beyond Wrestling, we'll see. He's in Super Strong Style 16 in Progress, so 2 things can happen. He can either win and then face Walter for the title, and that continues that storyline, or he loses in the first round or something, much like in WXW 16 Carat, and then he quits Progress. So we'll see what's happening there. It's very cool. I enjoyed all the wrestlers there. The Stardom American Dream show consisted of, basically, it felt like a Stardom show. Controversy coming out because the show started late due to a broken ring rope, the lower one. And what ended up happening, supposedly, was the show beforehand. I believe it was a GCW show or something. I can't remember. The fans got really rowdy and drunk, and there was just beer over the floor, so that kind of explained why the floor was real sticky. and the EMTs were really tending to the crowd more than the wrestlers. The ring ropes broke, and so there was a lot of cleanup and fixing involved. The show started late. A lot of matches were rushed, but ultimately, it was a fun show. It felt like I was watching something in Japan, and I think at the end of the day, that was the point of it all. Mayu, the standout competitors were Mayu, Momo Utami, and Hana Kimura. She was super over. Pretty cool stuff there. And then the G1 Supercard from New Japan Ring of Honor. Something my dad and I just kind of didn't talk about was kind of the overall crowd reaction to everything, where when a Ring of Honor star would come out, and it was very apparent in that battle, in the Royal Rumble Battle Royal situation, where when a Ring of Honor guy would come out, no one would care. And then when a New Japan guy would come out, the crowd would go crazy. The Battle Royal went on probably a little too long. A lot of guys just standing around. It was kind of a messy match. You can tell they weren't really comfortable or used to that style of match, but that's okay. I had a lot of fun as a fan there. And even though the Ring of Honor matches didn't deliver, except the ladder match, which was fun, it was just a little too long. You can really tell this is the state of Ring of Honor at this point. And then that tag title match, the street fight, just that middle portion of the show. Even though my section and myself was having fun, it didn't come across well. Like Bully Ray being the big heel in Ring of Honor, coming out to the rap artist, just getting booed by the fans. That doesn't go over well. The street fight was a total mess, with Juice Robinson being taken out of the match, and then Flip Gordon doing the knee injury, but then Juice Robinson comes out later and he's totally fine, not selling. That was really strange. The tag title match was a disaster. It was just 8 minutes. Gorillas of Destiny did win, but again, the Enzo and Cass thing is just stupid. Like, Ring of Honor is not looking the best right now. I'm very vocal about my position on Ring of Honor. They have so much talent, and just utilization and booking of it all there's no star power. There are stars there, but there's no star power. It makes no sense to me. While the New Japan, every single match of those delivered. They were super fun. I was into it. The Tanahashi Zack Sabre Jr. match is my kind of thing. I absolutely loved it. And then I'm really confused as to why the junior title match, it was at Wrestle Kingdom, and now it's at the G1 Supercard, where they go like 10 minutes. They're not getting the time. And they're really good. They're just too short. I need a junior title match that is like 15 plus minutes long. Now I need that more often. Otherwise, that belt is feeling diminished to me. While the openweight title, of all things, is getting elevated. So take that for what it's worth. I want to see more junior title. Get some highlights there. So with that being said, that was my general feelings of it all. It was quite exhausting. I did get home in time to watch some of WrestleMania. I had to watch that show over the course of 3 days, just that damn long. I watched TakeOver, so we'll get there later. So with that, I'm gonna play my amazing fun drop as I pull it off for the wrestler spotlight, which is over a guy I'm very excited to talk about. And that's Johnny Valentine. So here we go.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Okay. Yes, that is Bret Hart natural. Hey, just making my notes here. Bear with me. Okay. So, Johnny Valentine, the second ever NWA US title champion. We've mentioned him in the past when we did the Wahoo McDaniel spotlight. And what's fascinating with Johnny Valentine is I believe he had about a 30-year career through the 40s to the 70s, early 70s. He's the one that was in that crazy plane crash that involved Ric Flair and David Crockett. David Crockett and I believe Tim Woods, where like all the guys broke their backs. So that was very famous. And this because Valentine broke his back in I believe it was 75, he had to retire. His back was thrashed. That led to, of course, Ric Flair losing all that weight. He was paralyzed, and obviously he couldn't get back to that standard he was. But he was, he ended up having freaking 50-year career. He could still wrestle, I bet, if he wanted to. So bad ending for Johnny Valentine. But in between all that, I'm more familiar with Valentine's like late 60s, early 70s work, because that's when he was involved with the NWA US title, and he was also gunning for the Mid-Atlantic Championship versus Briscoe. It was crazy. I believe it was Jack Briscoe. NWA World? No. The Mid-Atlantic title was Jerry Briscoe, and the heavyweight title was Jack Briscoe. So he kind of had that. He had this rivalry with both those guys. Then he had the U.S. title on top of it all. Johnny Valentine's in multiple halls of fame, including the Observer one, and for a good reason. He was a great worker, a big dude. He was like 275, I believe, or 375. He was a big dude. He threw wild haymakers. Good worker. Just referencing back to the Wahoo McDaniel Valentine match, Valentine was so good at getting guys over. He was his style stood the test of time. That's why he lasted as long as he did, and he probably could have lasted longer. One of the guys he was known for getting over the most, arguably, was Inoki, of all people, where he took I could be wrong, the Stampede tag titles or the Canadian tag titles over to Japan, or a Canadian title of some sort, and he put Inoki over, and that was kind of the start to Inoki reaching stardom outside of Japan, because that was really Inoki's first foreign wrestler of note he would face and then beat. So Valentine has such an amazing place in history, and I think he gets forgotten about because of guys like Greg Valentine, and it's just so long ago. He even had a short feud with Bruno Sammartino when he would work the WWF territory. So Valentine was no joke. He was always at top of the cards. He was always in feuds. He faced guys like the Sheik, one of my dad's favorites, Antonio Rocca. I was asking my dad about Rocca and Valentine. He goes, well, I don't remember Valentine. And I show him a video on YouTube. He's like, oh yeah, I do remember that guy. He was real wild, big blonde hair. And Valentine could do either a villain or a face. He did both characters very well. He just knew what moves to do at the right time, and could work any territory and get himself over. Just covering the spotlight and looking back on guys that would work multiple territories and didn't have their ego come into play where he would lose all the time. He would look so good in losing. He was a legit contender everywhere. Word would get around. I've watched countless matches of Valentine now, and no matter who he's facing, whether it's a title match or getting a guy who's older and slower over, a Valentine match always had that real feeling to it all. So, my personal recommendation is to go check out the NWA Briscoe rivalries, whether it's Jack or Jerry Briscoe. In my opinion, that's my favorite. Those are two of my favorite matches and rivalries that he had. It's just a series of matches, because the Briscoes could also work very well. The matches just flowed quite nicely. It was like a laminar flow to a match where the guys wouldn't just do moves for the sake of doing moves. Everything was picking apart body parts, putting guys in corner when you're tired. I think they stand up to the test of time. No, it's not the flippy stuff that we're now accustomed to these days, but if you put any of Valentine's 60s and 70s matches that I've seen into, say, the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s, they stand the test of time. So that's my recommendation. Just going back and doing these spotlights and going over these US title winners. Johnny Valentine is just one of those guys who stands out to me more. So we did Harley Race last time. We've done Johnny Valentine this time. I'm looking forward to continuing this as we move on. So, with that being said, it's time to go into our weekly wrestling recap. Means only one thing. We're going MLW Fusion. Alright, MLW Fusion is here, episode 51. Yeah, I'm a little late going to this because Battle Riot came out 2 days after Mania, and I'm stopping the podcast covering things after Mania. So, I know it did take place during it, but you get what I'm saying. But we'll be covering Battle Riot next episode, like I said, and probably episode 52 on top of that. The recap of last week's in episode 50, MLW Fusion, we saw Teddy Hart getting arrested, as well as his jewelry getting busted up after we got a Dynasty beatdown on Pillman Jr., so we got that. We saw a nice little thing of Mance Warner versus LA Park's death match. That was real fun. Park won that match, by the way, and I do recommend go watch that one. MLW Fusion, to me, you know, had to establish themselves for a while. I spoke about this in the podcast last year, where they had their first like 10 to 15 episodes, and I wasn't like totally feeling it yet, but over time, to me, MLW has become the best wrestling promotion in North America. Maybe until MLW comes out, naturally, but I'm really enjoying MLW. It's a nice, easy watch. It's an hour a week on a Sunday these days. I think they're moving to Mondays, actually, or Tuesdays. We'll see. So anyways, back to episode 51. We get a cut to Selena De La Renta with a very pale looking Io De La Park saying Promociones Dorado is back, bitch, whatever that means. And then we get our first match. So it's Errol Dominguez, real tiny dude, versus Daga, real big dude, with low key on commentary, you know, for reasons. Daga's looking like he's looking big, he's looking like a star, and this match was to kind of prep his match for Low Key with a smaller, a quicker guy. So that's the story I got there. And he's prepping for his match against Low Key. The commentary is referencing the ear getting ripped off months ago that Low Key did. So, you know, their match should be good. Again, Daga wins this match easily, and then he kind of spouts at Low Key, so nothing really happened post-match. Was kind of disappointed. This just turned out to be just a match. Then we get some strange promos from the Hart Foundation with their cutting lines that are just disjointed with the storyline. You could definitely tell that these promos were filmed before the arrest storyline because it wasn't brought up. A lot of things were just glossed over. Not their best work. We did get also a Myron Reed promo, kind of, he wants the middleweight title because there's a open challenge later tonight that Teddy Hart dished out. So Myron Reed has a lot, he has one of the more built up characters in MLW, surprisingly enough. Myron Reed's really growing on me here. We get Ricky Martinez with Selena De La Renta in our next match with the debuting Air Wolf. I like that name. This was good. Good match. Martinez does win in the end pretty handily, but Air Wolf definitely has my attention. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this guy. This is followed by a flurry of 5 separate promos. Go through them right quick. We get Contra Unit Killing People recap. Maybe these promos are kind of strange, but you get used to them. I do like Contra Unit. Kind of sad they weren't on this episode, so I can't wait to see what they're capable of come Battle Riot. We get a very awkward Hammerstone promo. So I guess he's just not totally comfortable with speaking in front of a camera yet. So hopefully he gets used to it as time goes on. We get a Tom Lawler training promo because he's taking on Jimmy Havoc at Battle Royale. You know, every match feels like a real fight with Tom Lawler. Good enough. Daga saying he's only in MLW to kill low key. Maybe he should have done something after his match earlier then. Then we get a camera cut to Zelina De La Renta saying, "What?" Like Little John. It was quite funny. What? She informs LA Park that Hio De La Park is now missing. LA Park just kind of responds that he'll handle it. Don't worry about it. Okay. It happens. Interesting storyline developing there. Now we get our main event. It's our MLW Middleweight Open Challenge, which Myron Reed accepted. So we get Teddy Hart versus Myron Reed for the title. The story here was more Hart versus his injuries that's been suffered over the past few weeks by the Dynasty. Hell of a showing. Good outside story told. It's a Teddy Hart match, so it's moves for the sake of doing moves. But then once the injury part came into play, then it was good selling. He even pukes at the ring in one point. That was just crazy. I love that. Just the total oversell really made me laugh and buy it more. And Reed put on a hell of a showing too. Hart ends up winning. Good stuff here. I have no complaints. It's a very good episode of MLW Fusion. The night ends with Zelina saying the faction is back and strong. We see Hio De La Park kind of showing up in the back, and he immediately punches out LA Park. It's like, whoa, what happened here? Mask gets torn off to reveal that it's Mance Warner of all people. Quick more punches, and then the camera cuts. You're like, oh, what happened? This was an awesome ending, leaving me wanting more. I'm still not feeling Mance Warner ring-wise. Still think he's pretty green. He's got a lot of work to do there. However, his booking and character work is totally spot on. So that's got me hook, line, and sinker. Everything here has got me looking forward to all the stories being told in MLW Fusion. Yeah, the promos still need a lot of work. You know, you can definitely tell who's better than others, such as MJF, Zelina De La Renta. I would like to see more Tom Lawler be featured, but since he's the champion, instead of these just kind of workout promos. But yeah, Battle Royale, boys. Doing it. Now it's time to go into Beyond Wrestling's debut weekly show over on Indie Wrestling TV, which, again, I'll reiterate, you can sign up for a 30-day free trial. This was Uncharted Territory Episode 1, and I got to personally attend this match. It was this event. Wasn't sure what I was expecting. I was thinking, you know, it's a regional indie wrestling promotion. This is a big project they're taking on. What could they possibly do to impress me, right? But you know, I've been to a lot of Beyond Wrestling shows since I moved to this region, and I can't say I've been to a bad show. So what did we get the first match? We get SoCal Uncensored versus Team Pazuzu in a 6-man tag match. Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky are there. I haven't seen these guys since I went to TNA events way back in the day, so this was really cool seeing them. And for those that don't know, Team Pazuzu is Chris Dickinson, the Beyond Wrestling veteran of it all, and then LAX, or in this case, EYFBO. And your fucking balls off. It's Ortiz and Santana, guys. So they have a 6-man tag match. They do some joking kind of spots. Ortiz is just absolutely hysterical. Daniels and Kazarian, being as the veterans they are, they still move in the ring well enough. And they have a quick little 8-minute match. I believe that's how long it was. No, it was like 15 minutes. Who am I kidding? I wrote all these down. So it was about 15 minutes, and it ends with David Starr interfering with Chris Dickinson, and that leads to SoCal Uncensored picking up the victory here. So, a story being told there. The Starr-Dickinson rivalry continues. I have to imagine that that's going to be the big singles blow-off match at American Rana come July. They're just going to continue this building. Singles match here, MJF in an intergender match versus Beyond Wrestling's Kimberly. She's out of Seattle. but she is in Beyond Wrestling quite often. This was just a quick 4-minute match. MJF even spouts, yells at her, being like, "We don't need you here anymore. Chris Statlander is the new woman of Beyond Wrestling." And so Kimberly does fight it off, but ultimately MJF pokes her in the eyes, does his finisher. 4 minutes, we're done here. MJF wins. Lots of heat from the crowd. We get a tag team match open challenge from the Beaver Boys. These are the guys that also won the tag title tournament, or at least the tag tournament. It's Alex Reynolds and John Silver. John Silver is he's the meat man. He's a short little muscle stacked dude. They call it an open challenge, and to everyone's surprise, Aussie fucking Open accept the challenge in their debut. They were advertised for episode 2 of Uncharted Territory, so I wasn't expecting them there. This was a fun 16-minute tag match. Everyone was hot for Aussie Open. The John Silver Mark Davis battle was really funny because he's like half the size of Mark Davis, and he's just saying you're nothing. He's talking shit to him, and surprisingly enough, Aussie Open lose to the Beaver Boys, so the local guys go over. Then we get a ongoing, which will be a episodic weekly challenge where younger new guys to Beyond Wrestling will be in a gauntlet match with like a Jeopardy's rule, where if you win the match, you get to perform the next week. This was Mick Moretti versus Gabriel Sky, and Gabriel Sky, I've seen before. He was in a Fatal 4-Way dark match at the like King of the Ring tournament I went to a month ago. So he's real skinny. He's a high flyer. One of the better guys in the ring. And then Mick Moretti's got this kind of crazy persona attitude. Like he's got a split personality deal. And he's from Australia. This match goes 16 minutes. The crowd wasn't too into it. I was just more curious about how this is going to develop. Mick Moretti then also cuts a promo later in the show. He's interviewed ringside. And he's moving on to next week. Singles match. Chris Statlander, our winner of the King of the Ring tournament from a month ago. I'm just going to keep calling it King of the Ring because that's what most people are familiar with. She's taking on AR Fox, followed by his wife. I guess it's her girlfriend. They have a real fun 9-minute match. Statlander goes over. Really funny spots where anytime anyone starts going to the top turnbuckle, there's a like an air duct that if you go too high, you're gonna hit it. And that was also a joke at the WXW America's Wunderbar show because the lighting systems and a TV was too low in a couple of the corners, so they had to kind of work around that. Statlander just continues to impress. She is one of the big-time building stars of Beyond Wrestling. Guys, keep your eye out for her. She is no joke. She's the world's greatest alien. Galaxy's greatest alien, I'm sorry. I got to meet her post-show. She's really nice. She's kind of goofy and shy. Good personality to her all. And then I believe AR Fox was threatening to beat her down post-match after he lost. And then Kimberly comes out for the save. She's wearing a beanie. She looks more badass than normal. Everyone felt a turn coming. They're just like, uh-oh. No way, she's out here to save. Sure as shit. Clotheslines, kicks her. We get a Kimberly heel turn, and it looks like we got Statlander Kimberly rivalry heading down the line. That's cool. Crowd popped pretty hard for it. Tag team match next. And this was stipulated with Jordan Grace and Orange Cassidy having mystery partners. They'd announce their partner. Jordan Grace cuts the first promo, and she goes, "Now I know all you guys have speculated who my partners are going to be. Everyone's chanting for Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump, because she's Thick Mama Pump." She goes, "Unfortunately, it's not Scott Steiner. everyone starts wanting then Jordan Gresham, or Jonathan Gresham, my god. Jonathan Gresham, she goes, no, it's not. Gresham's her husband, her fiance now. But she goes, she possibly found someone better, and he's more than a man. He's a machine. Brian Cage's music hits. Big pop. Orange Cassidy looks devastated in the ring. He gets on the mic. He's very dejected in his voice, and he says, all right, I don't have Brian Cage as my partner. Last time I was here, I beat David Starr. Everyone pops really hard for it, because that was kind of the Ace versus the New Ace match. The Ace of Beyond, who's the Ace of Beyond? So Orange Cassidy beat David Starr, and then he goes, and then the next time I was in Rhode Island or Massachusetts, I won the independent title. And then out of his backpack, he pulls out the new look independent title, and it looks very slick. Really reminds me of the Intercontinental title from WWE, actually. Nicely done. Then he goes, I scoured the earth, I scoured the world, and I found the perfect partner for this match. And Session Martina's music hits. She goes through the crowd, she does her whole shtick, she's drinking. This was it wasn't a very competitive match. Like, Grayson Cage just kicked the shit out of Cassidy and Martina. My favorite spot of the match was definitely Orange Cassidy's getting beaten down by both Grayson Cage, and Martina gets on the turnbuckle. She goes, I gotta save my man, and she does a crossbody to Cage and just hits a wall and falls. It was really funny. So yeah, Cage and Grace win in 10 minutes. Fun match. And then we get to our main event, which is David Starr versus ECW legend Masato Tanaka. This match goes 15 minutes. It gets ECW crazy. Ref bump happens. And then out from the corner of the building, through the entrance, Joey Janela. Yes, I went to 2 straight night shows where Joey Janela popped up at the end. Crowd goes crazy. He hits David Starr with a chair, throws the chair to Tanaka, knocks David Starr straight over the head with the chair. Tanaka gets the win. Crazy stuff. So we're looking like we're getting David Starr versus Joey Janela down the line. Awesome. That's a rematch of their American Rana match from 2018. Gotta say, Uncharted Territory Episode 1. David Starr leaves an impression like he always does. Chris Statlander's one of the most over people in Beyond Wrestling. I recommend keeping your eye out and at least give Episode 1 Uncharted Territory a try. You can sign up for your 30-day trial at Indie Wrestling today. So, with that, let me just catch my breath here. I gotta take some water. Wonderful. Now we can move on to our indie wrestling as we go on to what's been going on building up to New York WXW America's Wunderbar. Got 2 WXW shows to go through. Alrighty, boys. WXW Road to New York City happens first, and some interesting things. I mean, both the Road to New York City and the 16 Carat revenge shows were simple enough. The big things I took out of it was the Marius Al-Ani shotgun title defenses. He had 2 of them. And then the ongoing story with Absolute Andy wanting the title. And so what ends up happening here is we get a singles match of Absolute Andy versus Vinny Vortex. Andy wins, but prior he does a funny promo where he's talking about Vinny going, he always played fair. He's like looking to Vinny for emotional support, even though he's been pestering him and kicking him ever since Bobby Guns wants the title. So that it was really funny. We get the shotgun title match. Al-Ani defeats Jurn Simmons, so he maintains the title. We get 2 rookie debuts coming out of the Academy of WXW. A guy named Crowchester versus Lucas Robinson. That goes to a no contest. We get a singles match, Vesna versus Yu, which Vesna wins. So Yu just isn't quite going over the way a lot of people thought she would. She's very young. She has ways to improve and grow. And it looks like Vesna's going down the line into a title match versus Toni Storm for the women's title. We get a tag team match, and this was built up. Pretty Bastards versus the Heirs of Hungary. For whomever wins gets a WXW full-time contract. And Pretty Bastards win in a pretty decent match, a little sloppy in places. So Pretty Bastards get the contract. Then our main event was Emil Satochi teaming with Al-Ani versus Julian Pace and Leon Van Gasteren. So Al-Ani does a double showing here. And they beat Pace and Van Gasteren. Simple match, simple night. Not the most memorable WXW show, but there were some stories coming out of it. David Starr was pestering Fight Mueller to go talk to Walter because Walter's been ducking him, and Fight Mueller just goes, well, how about this? Why don't we have a match? And David Starr took that as, okay, well, if I beat you, you'll go talk to Walter, right? Whatever. It's so funny stuff. So moving on to 16 Carat Revenge, which takes place in Frankfurt. And we immediately start off with Absolute Andy. We get some recaps over everything that's been going down. Absolute Andy hits the ring. He demands a world title match. He starts calling Bobby Guns all kinds of names. Calls for like conspiracies, and his title was wrongfully lost by him. Bobby Guns comes out. They cut some funny promos. Andy, of course, calls himself the Tyrannosaurus Rex. He ages better. He ages like wine. He's the veteran, man. He's the eagle. Goads Bobby Guns into a title match, all while Karsten Beck is just saying, like, what's your problem? No, don't do this. Bobby Guns, are you sure you want to do this? Warning you. And then as they and Andy calls for all of the stipulations to make it official. You know, he wants the full ring entrance, he wants the announcements, he wants the title being held up to show the crowd that from Karsten Beck that yes, this is indeed a title match. It all goes down as soon as the bell rings. Andy pushes Beck into the ref, goes to kick Bobby Guns in the nuts. Guns reverses it, armbar, immediately makes Andy tap out in 8 seconds, and just this shocked look and selling of Andy of what happened was absolutely hysterical. When Guns finally exits the ring, Andy picks up ring announcer and goes to F5 him. Karsten Beck gets on the mic. No, don't do that. If you do that, you will be the most awesome guy in the world, but you will be the most awesome guy sitting at home because you will be suspended indefinitely. JFK come out and talk down Absolute Andy from doing it. A little alliance building there with Andy and JFK. See where that goes. We get a couple. So we'll cut to their promo later. Then we get a couple women's division debuts of Amal Winchester and Baby Allison as they take on the team of Killer Kelly and you. Amal Winchester is a French wrestler, a bit of a veteran now, and she cuts a nice little promo. Yeah, the French accent's a little rough. Hey, she looked really good in this match. Really good. Amal Winchester definitely stood out to me. And then Baby Allison, she looks a little green. She's German. She's got a real interesting look to her. She calls herself the witch bitch of wrestling. She's a little green in the ring, not as good as Amal Winchester, not as fluid with movement, but the look is good. And surprisingly enough, Winchester gets the win. So perhaps we could be looking at a Vesna Winchester match down the line. But my bet is Winchester is going to be in this division for a long time. Hope anyway. We get Shigeru Irie. He defeats Jurgen Simmons in 9 minutes. Good enough, I guess. We get just referencing just a promo, a little segment that was at the beginning of the show to set up this match was Dragunov, Avalanche, and Maggot are all kind of hanging out outside the building, and then Prince Aurora rolls up in this like BMW or something, or Mercedes. He acts like now that he has a WXW contract, he gets the women, the money, the matches, the titles, all that stuff. And Maggot's just kind of looking on, what the hell? Then Prince Aurora looks at Avalanche, and he's all bragging about it, and that sets up this tag match of Avalanche and Dragunov versus the Pretty Bastards. And needless to say, Avalanche and Dragunov do win in 14 minutes. However, the Pretty Bastards look damn good. There was just this nice little moment of booking where Prince Aurora's confidence and newfound cockiness distracted from them winning the match. So it kind of got them over with also making Avalanche and Dragunov get the win, so they didn't lose. Alani is all cocky. He calls for a open challenge, and before he goes out to brag about his open challenge, he comes in contact with Dragunov, and Dragunov's laughing at him. He goes, "Alani, you're looking good lately. However, it would be a real shame that your cockiness kind of gets the better of you. A title change could happen anytime. You could lose that with all your overconfidence. Look at Andy. Look at Andy. Look at all these other guys that he's come across." He warns them heavily. Alani, all cocky, nah, whatever. I'm not gonna lose my title. Gets on the mic. He goes, I won't just open challenge one person. Anybody who wants a shot, just come on out. Satoshi hits the ring. He accepts. And then, as the match is beginning to get started, Julian Pace also comes out and accepts the match. This was a really good 8-minute match. The crowd was really into it. And a shock title change before going to New York. Emil Satoshi, with his newly found goth I need to feel something gimmick, wins the shotgun title, breaking Alani's shotgun record. He loses the title. I love this booking. And then post-match, Alani's on his way back, and Dragunov's just laughing at him. He's saying, "You fucked up your match, but guess what? The board of directors have said we're going to have a match at True Colors," which is the next WXW show coming up in May. Fun. We get the Fight Muller David Starr match. It goes about 12 minutes. Good stuff. Fight Muller's looking like a star in the making here. He's been also against really good opponents like Walter and now David Starr. And surprisingly enough, David Starr loses. What's David Starr going to do now? He can't beat anybody. Can't get Walter. He didn't beat Fight to go talk to Walter. Story continues. Then we get to our main event, something I was super hyped up for. Rise versus Schadenfreude, the new faction of WXW. And naturally we have the conflicted feelings of 16 karat gold winner Lucky Kid. Which side is he going to take? Is he going to take the side of his his UK wrestling buddies, Schadenfreude? Or is he going to stay with Rise? And that was the story of this match. 18-minute match. Lucky Kid's very confused. Both sides just want to fight each other. They're pushing him out of the way. They're saying, "Fight me any." Schadenfreude is saying, "Well, this is a match. Fight me anyways." And despite all that, Rise does get the win as Pete Bouncer gets the pinfall. I really like this booking because now Schadenfreude is upset with Lucky Kid, and they're supposed to be friends. There's also been promos where they're like throwing shirts aside. You don't need this anymore. That led to kind of this Rise Schadenfreude match in the first place, along with the fact that Aussie Open took the tag titles away from Rise. Where this is building, I was a little worried that they were giving us this match too soon, but the way it was booked and the way the match went down in the end, it really makes me interested and looking forward to more matches between these 6 guys. Maybe a new Rise member gets recruited, or Lucky Kid. I imagine Lucky Kid's gonna defect to Schadenfreude at some point. And now I'm wondering where Timothy Thatcher comes in. He wasn't on either of these shows. No promos. What's he doing? The WXW building up towards True Colors and what's going to be going down is very interesting. Some of the debuts are very good. Because a lot of these guys that are with NXT UK aren't going to be in this promotion as much anymore. So they got to build new stars, and this is definitely a way to do it. Very happy. With that, it's I believe it's Stardom time. Hell yeah. Everyone loves Stardom. And naturally, with Stardom, we have 3 shows to go over. We got Osaka Night, the night show in Osaka, March 21st. We have the Shinkibi show, March 24th, and the Korakuen Hall show from March. American Dream will be covered later with my dad, along with America's Wunderbar from WXW. So, what happened at the Stardom shows? Well, their Osaka evening show, otherwise known as Grow Up Stars. This was an okay show. Had some stories building for everything down the line. Azumi wins the triple threat match at the start. We have Rebel Kell and Xia Brookside defeating Saki and Starlight Kid. 8 minutes or 9 minutes. It was fine. Queen's Quest, the team of B. Priestley and Konami, defeat Jungle Kiona and Leo Onozaki. That's no surprise there. Tag team of Arisa and Mayu, otherwise known as like AMA or AMA. They took on Oedo Tai of Hazuki and Kagetsu in a time limit draw of 15 minutes. This was cool. I really enjoyed this match. I love these groups. There's a story building here between Stars and Oedo Tai. What's going to happen later? Definitely find out with the booking later. A singles match between Goya Kong and Viper. This goes to a double countout, so the battle of the big girls goes 7 minutes. Double countout. Good booking makes both girls look real strong. Because Goya Kong has a title match coming up against Kagetsu at a later show, so doesn't make either of them weak. And then our main event is the Goddess of Stardom title match. This was the one where Natsu had to find a tag partner. She had to, do something, and she chose Miyagi. This also builds up further the Miyagi Momo white belt title match in a few nights. Well, Queen's Quest, of course, gets the victory. Poor Natsu can't seem to get a title. Match goes 15 minutes. So this turned out to be a good show. The Stars Oedo Tai, the AMA, I should say, Oedo Tai match was definitely something worth checking out, and I had a lot of fun with the tag title match. The next show is the Shinkiba show. My notes go on this. Bear with me, I gotta pull them up. Alright, Shinkiba, where are you at? There you are. Yeah, the Shinkiba show was pretty skippable, really. There was a triple threat, or six-way trios match. Queen's Quest versus John. Queen's Quest wins. No surprise. Then we get a really cool trios match of Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest, just furthering that rivalry. And then we had the trios title match where we saw Stars break the record for the most trio defenses. That was against Hana Kimura's team of Rebel and Goya Kong. So they're blending like a team. The cool thing is that they want to keep defending those titles. They want to be the strongest trios team ever. Because I think it was only 4 defenses. It's not a lot. That title changes hands all the time. Kind of gives more meaning to how hard it is to keep the titles more than anything. So it's tough. Then on to the Korakuen Hall show, which was pretty crazy, which took place at the end of the month. We saw Utami defeat Rebel Kell to keep her SWA Undisputed Women's title. We saw Hazuki keep her high-speed title in 4 minutes. That was, I mean, Xia Brookside's very green. I'm not feeling her. Hazuki just is a star. Let's face it. She's young. She's got it all. Her springboard dropkick is amazing to watch every time. She gets the crowd behind her time and time again. Hazuki's impressive. A really, really good Ring of Honor Women of Honor title match of Mayu Iwatani versus Natsuko Tora. This went 13 minutes, but it was so good. This is probably the best Natsuko Tora match I've ever seen, and Mayu is fantastic here. I highly recommend this match of all. World of Stardom title match. This was Kagetsu versus Goya Kong. This went about 12 minutes. A well put together match, I must say. Goya Kong, she's a very large person. Kagetsu really worked hard to get her over, and it did work out. Kagetsu kind of cut promos like she's gonna slam her, and she hits a couple 450 splashes. She wins. She successfully defends her title. I forget what number it was. I didn't write it down. And then she cuts a promo after the match saying, "Goya, you are an amazing competitor." Kagetsu says that she won because she's in her hometown. She had, the home field advantage. Next time, let's do this again in Mexico. And that was accepted. So, hey, well, going into this, I wasn't really excited for Goya Kong as a challenger. But after this match, this convinced me I want to see another match between these two, and we're getting it. So kudos there. And then naturally, the big build itself. We got the Wonder of Stardom title match. Momo Watanabe breaking further records. She wants Andres Miyagi. This match goes 20 minutes, and it was so good, guys. Momo is a fucking star. She beats Andres Miyagi for another, just racking up the wins. It's her 12th defense. Miyagi looks great. This match flowed well. It was a little sloppy in places. No way it was going to be better than that Jungle Kyoto match. But it was everything I wanted and more. There was good limb work, good back work. Momo's a star. At the end of the day, she is Stardom right now. It's her and Mayu Iwatani. These two are carrying the company right now, with Utami and Kagetsu kind of being the workhorses, and that's kind of shocking to say since Utami just debuted like last August. So, good stuff here. I recommend the ROH title match of Mayu and the Wonder of Stardom title match of Momo. And naturally, again, we'll be talking more of the New York show later with my dad, who he had a good time. What's next on the docket here? Is that right? Everything I gotta do here. Find the drop. Bear with me, guys. It's a Sunday afternoon. I'm chilling. Where is my Gargano drop? Where is it, guys? Did I lose it? I'm sorry. I'm really dropping the ball here. There it is. Oh, I have it as NXT.
Yeah, you'll never tear me apart.
There it is. I gotta change that naming convention. Shame on me. That was no bueno. Alright. So NXT TakeOver New York City. I was very excited for this. Everything that whoa. Hold on. This is not what I wanted at all. Alright. I don't want TakeOver New Orleans. Jesus, I'm trying to pull up the card here. Alright, TakeOver New York City. Thank you. Man, how was that so hard to pull up? Usually I write down, what ends up happening is usually I write down like all my thoughts over every match, have the card pre-written down. Didn't feel like it this time. I'm kind of going off the fly here. So we start NXT TakeOver New York with the NXT Tag Title match of War Raiders taking on Aleister Black and Ricochet. I've seen a couple people call the team of Black and Ricochet like the Devil's Cheat Code. I kind of like that name. This was a super hot start. It was much better than I thought going into it. As we know, Aleister Black and Ricochet won the Dusty Classic this year. And I can't remember the last time a Dusty Classic winner actually went on to win the tag titles. Regardless, this was a lot of cool 1v1 instances. It felt like that more than a tag match. And I believe it was Rowe versus Black, and then it was Hanson versus Ricochet. And this led to really good combination and maneuvers. We got good face-offs, and it went just under 19 minutes. This was hot start to the show. I wasn't sure how anything was going to top that. Well, luckily, this is TakeOver, where every match seems to deliver time and time again. Highly recommended this match. It was one of the best ones of the weekend. We move on to the North American title match of Velveteen Dream taking on Matt Riddle. And if you know me and my history with this podcast, I'm not a big Matt Riddle guy. I don't like his style in the ring. And yet, lately, over the last, I want to say, year, he has grown on me. So what we got here was Dream coming out as Statue of Liberty Dream, just getting over with the crowd. Honestly, I thought this match started really slow. I wasn't into it. And then as it went into that last like 5 minutes of the 17.5-minute match, Riddle wasn't getting over with the crowd because Dream was. Riddle started doing a lot more heelish tactics, and more hard hitting, getting some heat that way as the story was told in the ring, which was quite nice. And Dream ends up getting a shock roll up win, and I was like, wow, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up loving this match too. Who knew? So 2 for 2 NXT TakeOver New York. I'm not sure where Matt Riddle goes from here. I don't know what program he's going to get into. Who's he going to face? Oh. Velveteen Dream has plenty of room to grow, that's for sure. Next match is Walter taking on Pete Dunne for the NXT UK title. Pete Dunne has had the title for like 2 years now. It's been nuts. This match went 25 minutes and 40 seconds, and fuck, it was everything I wanted. Oh my god, to me, this was a 5-star match. It's one of my favorite of the year so far. It's a top contender for match of the year. This was everything you wanted. Walter comes out looking like a dominant big man, a real threat to Pete Dunne. No, I haven't been keeping up with NXT UK because there's just not much to keep up with. The pre-match video package did it all for me, and that's all I needed. It was just like a couple promos, and Pete Dunne wants Walter. Big deal. That's kind of the issue with NXT UK I have. I'm sure there's good matches, but I already watched Progress, and I don't want to suffer from overexposure of wrestlers, you know? So, plenty of hard-hitting ring work. Pete Dunne wanting the chops at one point. Every move seems to matter. Pete Dunne working the fingers to take away Walter's chops. Walter sells it very well. I just can't think of a reason why, or a negative take on this match at all. It was exactly what I was wanting out of it. It delivered in every single way. big top rope powerbomb to put Pete Dunne away. New champion, boys. We have a new NXT UK champion. The only thing that felt off to me was that this match wasn't at a NXT UK TakeOver show. But since we don't know when the next one is, I guess I can... this would get more eyes on the NXT UK product, I guess, at the end of the day. It's just still weird that you see this other NXT brand being defended on in the States. And after it was all said and done with a 2-year run for the title to change hands outside of the UK, brings up some questions. I don't hate this decision at all. I love Walter as champion. I love this match. Just some oddities there to take into account. That moves on to the Fatal 4-Way match of Shayna Baszler defending her title against Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kairi Sane. This goes almost 16 minutes, and it was fine. The women looked out of their element, and by women I mean Baszler and Belair. Belair's pretty green, but she's athletic. Baszler does her best work in kind of the one-on-one situations where she can do her limb work. She clearly doesn't have a lot of exposure to these, triple threats and fatal 4-ways kind of matches, and it's not her strong suit. So where this match flourished was anytime it was Shirai versus Sane, but that was quickly taken away after just a couple moves by the other two competitors. I don't know why you just wouldn't let them fight. And then the tag team maneuvers of Shirai and Sane working together because they're best friends. I really hope this leads to either Shirai and Sane as a cohesive tag team and they start going after the tag titles that do exist. Get there. Or they get to a program between each other. I think you can't have these two in the same promotion not go against each other. It's impossible. Their Stardom matches are that of legend. Needless to say, Baszler, I think it was kind of predictable of all these people who were going to win tonight, and it turned out to be that way. It doesn't make the matches bad or anything. Predictable, right? Baszler wins. I don't know where she goes from here. She's defeated Belair twice. She's defeated Sane multiple occasions. Shirai doesn't have a track record to deserve a title shot. You have Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai out with injuries. Candice LeRae is just non-existent. There's no one else. What do? Chelsea Green's injured too. I don't know where you go from here with Baszler as champion. I don't know what's going to happen. It brings up a lot of questions with me. Does she get called up and just keep the title, or does she kind of throw it away in the trash can, Medusa style? I don't know. Does she get called up with the Superstar shakeup coming? I don't know, guys. That's up for you to decide. All right, on to our main event. Due to Tommaso Ciampa's neck surgery he had to go under, he had to vacate the title. There was like a fatal 5-way match, if I recall. Adam Cole rightfully wins, and this became a 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant title against Gargano. The story here was Cole has the Undisputed Era behind him. This is why I'm going to win. And then Johnny Gargano cuts a strange promo where he talks about how he's failed all the time. Weird. The package did a better job of selling it than the actual promos themselves. Regardless, 2 out of 3 falls at 14 minutes. Adam Cole hits Gargano with the last shot. Gets the first fall. So those first 12 minutes were really slow. I just was not into this match. But then once that once that like last 90 seconds or into the first fall, the last 90 seconds leading into the first fall went down, that's when it started picking up. That's when Gargano and Cole really started to ramp up the pace, hit their moves, start telling a better story of the Gargano comeback, right? And we didn't see the second fall until about 21 minutes, which was nuts. Gargano gets the one, Cole immediately taps out. I believe it was a tap out. And so it's 1-1, and then for the last, they basically have another 20-minute match. And this is where it kind of lost me a little bit, where it became, this 20 minutes, this last 20 minutes became I hit a big move, and it's a crazy near fall. Over and over again, right? Was it exciting? Yes. But it really just it really took me out of my disbelief, like, when's the pinfall coming? There was one in particular that did get me. One near fall that did get me, and that was when the Undisputed Era comes out, interferes, Cole hits a super kick, a knee super kick, and then he hits the last shot, and Gargano kicks out. The crowd goes fucking insane. I've never seen a reaction quite like it in NXT. This was beyond anything I'd ever seen. And once, I believe that came at 18 minutes into that third fall. We're at like 36, 37 minutes here, and then Gargano just takes out, like, gets rid of the Undisputed Era, does it all on his own, gets Adam Cole for that third fall. He wins the title. What an ending. Like, do I think this is a 5-star match? I think 4 3/4. I think the pace at the beginning was too slow, because they were in this for the long haul. It didn't have that kind of natural flow to it all, like a bait Pete Dunne 20+ minute match, or even what we see out of Noah, because they do 30+ minute matches all the time, and the Noah matches seem to have a good build flow to it. I don't think Gargano and Cole had that build flow to it at the start. And then the constant near falls really just took me out of it to an extent. But the last, the last couple minutes leading to each fall was outstanding. Really got me into it. Not to mention that crazy near fall of the double super kick last shot where Gargano kicks out. That was crazy. And then I think I did dock it more points because after the match, when Gargano's celebrating on the ramp, and Candice LeRae comes out because wife gotta be happy for her husband, right? Ciampa comes out and gives him a big hug. So I don't know. Everyone's friends, right? Everyone's friends again. Look, I get it. When Ciampa does eventually come back, like a year from now after the injury, everyone's gonna be super happy to see him. Might as well make him a face now. I don't know. It's I get the good feel to it all, but when you take kayfabe out like that, it really, I don't know. Some things rub a wrestling fan the wrong way, and that rubbed me the wrong way. Not gonna beat around the bush. Fuck, this match was good. So if I was to rank these matches in order from what I think were the best or my favorite, I would put the Walter Dunn match at 1, Gargano Cole 2, tag title match 3, Dream Riddle 4, and then the women's match 5. So that's how that all came to be. But yeah, what a show. TakeOver delivers time and time again. No complaints here other than what I did complain about. Ha ha ha. So with that, boys, we move on to Mania. Oh boy. Matches. Oh, might as well play the drop. Am I right, boys? Yeah, you heard it right, boys. That was Becky Lynch's music. Let's go to WrestleMania. So, this shit took me 3 fucking days to finish. It was so long. I don't get the reason why it has to be this long. I just don't get it. That at the end, when I was finally finished with all these shows, or all these matches, and Mania, and just Mania itself, I really didn't like it, right? Not as a whole show. It did have its moments that I did enjoy. I thought the first third of the show was good. To an extent. So we saw Tony Nese versus Buddy Murphy, in which Tony Nese won the Cruiserweight title in quick fashion. Simple match. No one, like, the audience was out of it. There was like maybe a fourth of the crowd there at this point. So take that for what it's worth. It was probably like the third best wrestling match on the show. Because another thing I came out of WrestleMania looking as I go, from a show perspective, it was fine, right? If I really look at it, I go, look, the show was harmless. It was just too long, and that's where I don't enjoy it. From the wrestling perspective, I thought it was lacking. Now the matches either didn't have a good build, matches were cut short, the wrestling was subpar. Some booking decisions were very questionable, and when you have like a 17 match card, you're gonna get a lot of those. But at the end of the day, it was entertaining. And what more can you ask? I have seen way worse WrestleManias than this. Just need to make it shorter. Really need to make it shorter. I can't be watching a show for 3 days for me to get through it. So the second match we saw Revival and the Raw Tag Titles versus Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. It was an okay tag title match. That was fine. Revival is a damn good tag team. Very old school NWA style to it. No build to this whatsoever other than like a beating like 3 months ago or some shit with Zack Ryder and Hawkins like talking about ending their streak, but there was no build to this. It was on the pre-show. Ryder and Hawkins are now your tag title champions. Way to go, guys. Oh, please make their reign short. And then we had the two battle royals. The women's battle royal was, I found, very sloppy. Very odd. Not worked well. Ember Moon was there. I thought she was out with an elbow injury, but I guess she came back early. I believe it was taped up, too. She looked good. Asuka looked good. And then they got thrown out, and nobody liked it. Carmella hit under the ring. Sarah Logan was the last one there, and then Carmella comes out from under the ring, like waves at her, and then kicks her out. Carmella's the Battle Royal winner. Okay. Not much else to say there. And then we had the men's Battle Royal, and I saw this in the Smark to Death Discord group, which is a wrestling podcast. They have a nice little Discord community going. One of the members there had named the men's Battle Royal the Creative Doesn't Have Anything For You Battle Royal. And it's harsh, but very true, and I absolutely laughed about it, and I love it a lot. So the Creative Has Nothing For You Battle Royal. The story was simply the SNL guy, the Weekend Update SNL guys are in the ring, and Braun Strowman's in the match because he wants to hurt as many people as possible. So, hooray, Braun Strowman, you really, you're going places. Your second Mania in a row in a joke situation. So, the Weekend Update guys hide under the ring, and they come out last second. They try to throw Braun Strowman as he's busy with the Hardy Boys. And Jeff Hardy had like face paint that looked like Vampiro, which I thought was funny. So poor Andrade, poor Gable, poor all those guys. Well, Strowman fights him off, chucks out the Weekend Update guys, so he wins the Battle Royal. This is my finger making a circle in hooray. But now on to the main show. Our first match here, well, Alexa Bliss comes out, because she's the quote-unquote host of Mania, and then she introduces Hogan. Hogan does the what you gonna do, brother thing. Everybody goes crazy, even though he's racist. Then Paul Heyman just walks out, storms out. He goes, apparently Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins is your opener. And I've been reading spurt articles of Lesnar's all pissed off he wanted to be in the main event, but whatever. This match went all of like 90 seconds or something, 2 minutes. Rollins does like Lesnar throws him around for a little bit, Then there's a ref bump. Rollins low blows him. 3 curb stomps. He wins. Title change. Did its job, I suppose. We're followed by the AJ Styles versus Randy Orton match, which was... I liked the match. It just didn't mean anything. They had an okay build to it with Styles, being proud of his indie wrestling background, being the face of the non-WWE scene for so long, and Randy Orton being the chosen one kind of deal, the golden child during that era. So they had a good match, just never really got going. It went like 16 minutes. Apparently there was lighting issues the whole time, where there were lights in fans' faces where they couldn't even see the match for like all of it almost. So Styles surprisingly beats Orton, which I was very happy with the booking there, in all honesty. But I guess this match just didn't need to be on the card at all if this was all it's going to be, right? I feel like if they made this a #1 contender match, the winner of this gets the first shot at the WWE title, then I think everybody would have been more into it. But it was just a singles match at the end of the day. Something we could have seen on SmackDown at any point, right? It didn't feel like a Mania match. It felt like a pay-per-view match. Then we get a fatal 4-way tag team title match of the Usos defending against Aleister Black and Ricochet. So here they are for their second straight night. Rusev and Nakamura and The Bar. This was as good a tag title match for 10 minutes as it could be. I'll leave it at that. I don't have anything wrong to say or bad about the match. I mean, it was quite exciting at parts. It's just kind of sad to see Rusev and Nakamura in the position they are. It was good to see the Usos get a win at Mania for once. Black and Ricochet are just... I'm a little worried that they're just going to be these workhorse guys, because they're so much smaller than everyone else kind of deal. I did really get a kick out of Cesaro doing the swing for like minutes, while Sheamus does the battering of the chest to everyone on the ring. Crowd loved that too. So. Shane McMahon defeats The Miz in their little Falls Count Anywhere match. This was too long. It went 15 minutes. It was a brawl. They just kind of punched each other around the arena, leading up to a scaffold, which really brought back memories of the Triple H Undertaker match from WrestleMania X7. And I don't know, something's weird about The Miz and the babyface. It led to a meme of The Miz's dad like putting up his fists, protecting him. But anyways, they finally get to the scaffold, and Miz does a suplex, and they fall like 8 feet off the scaffold. The camera did a really good job making it seem like it was 30 feet in the air. And then because of the way they landed, Shane McMahon got the pin and won. So, the last minute was good, but everything up to that, I was thinking to myself, man, this is a long time. The women's tag team title fatal 4-way went 10 minutes and 10 minutes too long, because it just wasn't a very good match. It could have been much worse, don't get me wrong. But Sasha, Banks, and Bayley had to really work their asses off here. And anytime they weren't in the ring, you could tell that the other people just have a tough time working. Eventually, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, do a sneak tag after a finisher, and then they get the win. They are your new tag champions. They're your new tag champions. What else to say there? It was, I saw this as a dud of a match, personally. I'm not excited for the Iconics as champs. They're fun characters, but they're just not very good in the ring. Then we got easily the match of the night, in my opinion. This was Kofi Kingston taking on Daniel Bryan for the WWE title. Build aside, and all those gauntlet matches aside, because I thought it was way overdone. This, Daniel Bryan worked his ass off. This got the perfect amount of time. It was just under 24 minutes. Daniel Bryan is such a good wrestler. Really, really good wrestler. Kofi Kingston can work to an extent, but he, without Daniel Bryan in this match, I can't see this match being as good as this in the WWE perspective. Do I buy Kofi Kingston as a legit WWE champion? No. Do I think this match was great and Kofi played his role well? Yes. The crowd fucking loved it too, so this had a big match feel. I can't disagree with any of that. It was well done. I loved how Rowan was on outside with Bryan, and Big E and Woods were rooting on their buddy, their New Day friend. I loved how Big E and Xavier Woods' role was to just make the odds even in Kofi's favor. So that played into a bit of the story that they've been building. And once the odds were even and everything was on good terms, Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise for the win. Holy shit, what a good match. This was easily my favorite match out of Mania. Easily. It wasn't nothing even could touch how good this match was. So whether Kofi Kingston has a long title reign or not, I'm eating some crow. Made me a believer. It made me enjoy the match. Would I would rather see Daniel Bryan as champion? Yeah. If he can take the title quick, I think that's better for business, personally. And then you can work more Kofi Kingston babyface type stuff, because I think Kofi is a better chaser than a champion. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll eat some crow on that one too. We get the U.S. title match. Samoa Joe defeats Rey Mysterio in 58 seconds. Poor Rey Mysterio. I don't know why WWE even wanted him back. Because he got squashed. I don't like seeing things like this happen to legends, especially industry legends that Rey Mysterio is. I don't think this makes Samoa Joe look like a better champion. So there you go. You could have not had this match on the show. Yet Roman Reigns defeats McIntyre in 10 minutes in a nothing match. Crowd just was out of it physically at this point. Like, once that Kofi Kingston match was over, the show was basically over. You could tell. Yeah, I just this is just me just saying, where do you go with Drew from here? You can't make him, well, of course you can make him the next contender for a title, but he's fucking losing all the time. I honestly don't remember the last time I saw Drew McIntyre win a legit match. He's always on the losing side in tag matches. He's losing these singles matches against the babyface stars. I don't know what you do with him. If you give him a title shot, it makes no sense, because he's been losing all the time. I don't know. Triple H versus Batista in a no-holds-barred match. This was, of course, a Triple H match goes over 20 minutes. Of course it does. And it was so shit. I hated this match. It was so boring. Batista did like 4 moves the whole time, and then he ends up losing. Oh, garbage. Moving on. Baron Corbin defeats Kurt Angle in 6 minutes. Like, this was depressing to watch. Like, Kurt Angle going for his last match in WWE, and it's against Baron Corbin. You just saw the people in the audience just going for a piss break. Like, I couldn't, like, Kurt Angle, a legend in the, one of the best workers in the ever, and in the 2000s. In this era, he's one of the best wrestlers of this era, and he's going out in a match like this against Baron Corbin. I see people online saying Baron Corbin gets heat, he's a good heel, and, well, if he was a good heel, and people wanted to see him in a match, they wouldn't fucking leave to go to the bathroom. This was depressing. And honestly, I wanted to just go to the restroom too, and I just shook my head when it was over. Not the reaction you want to see out of me. Then you got the Intercontinental match. Finn Balor comes out as the Demon, defeats Bobby Lashley in 4 minutes. Enough said there. It just begs more questions. What's the point of the Demon then, other than an entrance? Very sad to see. And then, in my opinion, the second best match of the night was the main event. The winner-take-all women's title match, triple threat. Becky Lynch, she wins the big one. She defeats Charlotte Flair and Rousey off kind of a botchy pin at the end. Charlotte Flair was a total star in this match. I was waiting for the big spot. That's what this was missing. It went 21 minutes. It got its time. I was very happy about that. The entrances were real cool. Lynch had her smoke. Charlotte Flair came in on a fucking helicopter. Then had the fireworks. Rousey Had Joan fucking Jett do her entrance. Really, really cool. I loved it. And the right person won. She's dual champ now, so that puts a cool little workhorse kind of target on her back, which is cool to see. Makes her seem like a big deal. Apparently, Ronda Rousey broke her hand in this match. I think all that was missing was like the big spot, whether it was Charlotte Flair's moonsault to the outside. Rousey doing something, cool, but she can't jump off things. The camera work I thought was really bad in this match too. It was almost like the camera guys were tired as well. But regardless, Mania was too long. It was a harmless show. It was an entertaining show, but the wrestling was subpar outside of about 3 matches, and the booking was questionable. So that's my thoughts over Mania. You guys think? Oh, where are we? We're an hour and a half into the show. We got we're gonna now cut to me and my dad recounting our time during Mania Weekend of the shows Amerika's Wunderbar from WXW, American Dream 2019 from Stardom, and the New Japan G1 Supercard, and what we thought of all those shows. And when we return, it'll be a recap over WCW Thunder and the wrestler rankings. All right, here we are. JD and his father, David Woolley
Junior,
is here. We've just had a night on the town, night 1 of our 3-day New York City Wrestlemania weekend. We just got back from a nice dinner after WXW Amerika ist Wunderbar
in the Queens
of New York. So, overall, what did you think of the event? I mean, this has to be your first wrestling. Well, besides the wild Toronto zombie wrestling show I took you to a few years ago, but besides that, like, this has to be decades.
This was a more of an authentic WrestleMania type WXW event. So
sure.
it was just more authentic than the crazy thing in Toronto. But
the crazy gimmick ridden wrestling that we saw in Canada.
So.
Yeah. So just first off, what were your expectations going into?
Well, I really
tonight?
didn't have any, because the only one I could base it on was the Toronto experience, and then of course 20 some years ago in Houston, when we went to the Real McCoy, the big event, whether it was WrestleMania or Raw or whatever it was, but that was a long time ago when JD first met Bret the Hitman Hart. So,
oh my God, that was 30 years ago at this point, or almost 30 years ago.
My expectations were kind of wide open for this one.
So this is a German promotion, as you know, my history with Germany now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited. It's one of my favorite promotions, so I was very curious to see what you thought of going into this event. Now that it's all over, what did you think of it as a whole? Like production value, wrestlers, matches, all that stuff. The venue.
Interesting matches, because they were a different venue, a German venue. So that was the unusual part about it. So I enjoyed that to see those names from Germany, mostly from Germany, but Australia and one Japan type thing, and so
yeah, it wasn't just German wrestlers,
right?
Even though it was a German promotion, yeah. So
it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the different names, and the whole venue was a little bit different than what I had been to before.
So was it the size, like at a smaller scale than what you would expect, or what do you mean by that?
No, you mean the venue itself?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was certainly a lot smaller than a WrestleMania or something like that, but it was bigger than the Toronto one, where it was just a crazy.
The Toronto one, we
little
were
thing.
in like a basement.
Yeah,
and...
basement thing. So it was like way different. So, I don't know that it was. I didn't really have an expectation because I didn't know what to expect. So it was
cool.
It was fine.
So then, now the big question is, now that we've seen the whole event, what wrestlers stood out to you? Because you're kind of going this as a. I mean, before the event, you were talking about Haystacks Calhoun and.
Well, that was just a joke, yeah.
Antonino
That's
Rocca
like
and
60 years ago.
talking about drop kicks.
Yeah. So, and I can tell you that a whole lot is not that much different than the maneuvering of the wrestlers is seems to be a little more quite a bit more dangerous, but it's not a whole lot more different. Their acts are very similar, and
What do you mean by that? Exactly.
Just their whole joking around and the whole venue is very similar, but the wrestling is a lot more brutal.
So you think it's okay? As you said, it's more dangerous.
Yep, that's a lot more dangerous.
What you see immediately. I guess when we get to the main event, that's where it was very much more apparent.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, what wrestlers then stood out to you more than others?
Well, I have a hard time remembering all the names. I remember the faces, but
that's fine. I can help you out with that.
Champion at the end was impressive. I liked him.
So Bobby Guns, yeah.
Bobby Guns, I like Bobby Guns. And
King of Smoke Style, even got a shirt afterwards.
Yeah, I like him. And then, of course, the funny one was the guy that I thought looked like the Penguin a little bit.
Lucky Kid.
Lucky Kid was pretty funny. And then some of the wrestlers.
Yeah, you made the Gotham.
Yeah, right. So some of the wrestlers, the two from Australia were monsters. I mean, the one guy was a gigantic dude, and then the other one was a wild bear. I mean, they just looked like very intimidating.
So they go by Aussie Open.
Yeah, they were very intimidating, and I liked those two. That was a great tag team match. I had suspected they would win, and they did. So
fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it was a really fun event. The crowd
very quiet.
Was very quiet for most of the time.
Yeah,
especially at the start.
Yeah, and then they got riled up a little bit on the end, and I guess got more of like a typical crowd, but it was entertaining for all who were there.
It seemed to me, the impression I got was a good chunk of the crowd, most of them, didn't know who a lot of these guys were. Yeah,
as you did know a lot of them.
I knew a lot of them.
You even seen them like yesterday.
Oh yeah, that was real funny. Because I had went to the Beyond Wrestling show, which I spoke about earlier on the podcast, and
which is funny because a lot of them had their suitcases, and they were at some of the earlier bouts, so they were heading out for their next venue, wherever that may be.
Yeah, exactly. I saw LAX the night before. Jordan Grace made a surprise appearance tonight. Let's see, David Starr wrestled 2 nights in a row as well.
And I did like LAX too.
You did like LAX.
I liked LAX.
They were great. Ortiz had the Taco Bell symbol on a tank top.
I liked LAX.
With the
that was the first tag team match I saw, and I think, and I liked them.
Yeah, they were really funny. They're
good.
Always entertaining.
Yeah.
I think I've seen them the most in the past couple of years out of anyone else live, just because they're also pretty local. And then Joey Janela made a surprise appearance for the second night
from
in a row.
Jersey,
Asbury Park, New Jersey.
That.
You liked him?
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was good. And he challenged the champion.
He challenged Bobby Guns.
Bobby Guns. He challenged Bobby Guns, and they both smoked. They were both smoking.
Oh my God, the pop Joey Janela got,
Yeah.
And then when Bobby Guns took the cigarette pack,
Yep.
and he teased lighting up the cigarette in New York because that's not allowed anymore.
Right. Uh-huh.
You can't do that. Everyone
Right.
was chanting like Giuliani and
You can't smoke anywhere in Manhattan anymore.
And Janela didn't do
Anywhere in New
anything,
York.
but Bobby Guns lit up in the middle of the ring. It was really funny.
Mhm.
King of Smoke style. Retained his title.
I'll
So-
be wearing my T-shirt tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, so we're going to Stardom tomorrow, and then G1 Supercard on
Mhm.
Saturday at the Garden. So that'll be super fun. So yeah, that was not much story there. My favorite, well, your three favorite matches were number one was the main event, Bobby Guns,
Uh-huh.
EA.
Yep.
Number two, you said was the tag match, Aussie Open, the
Uh-huh.
Australian guys.
Yep.
And number three was Lucky Kid, David Starr.
Yeah, and then you have to put in LAX in there too as
So you'd say-
tied for third.
You put that tied for third. The
Well,
opener?
let's put it this way. Bobby Guns, was it Bobby Guns? That was the first, and then Lucky Kid was second as individual matches, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and then the
For the
two tag
singles.
singles,
Yeah.
and then I liked it. Both tag teams were LAX, and then the guys from Australia. I like both of them.
Excellent.
Yeah, I like those two tag teams.
Not bad. I mean, that's half the card right there,
Yeah,
and
right.
you were very entertained. I like the setup of the venue. It's in a what'd you say? It was a tango bar or something.
It's a Latin dance club,
It's a Latin dance club called La Boom. You can kind of see
big
this.
Latin dance club in the Queens, and so they advertised that. I saw a sign that advertised it as the best Latin dance club in New York City. So La Boom.
Well, boom! It was good. We had a good view. We got to take pictures with some of the wrestlers. I got to meet Killer Kelly. She was real nice, nice, quick. We were standing watching the event with Jurgen Simmons most of the time. That was really funny.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, just talking to Absolute Andy, Lucky Kid, and Mario Salani. They were good sports about everything.
And it was pretty clean venue too. I mean, you went into the men's room, and the guy was holding the towel for you to wash your hands, and they had a full service bar there, so it was good.
Yeah, not a lot of people drinking.
Uh-huh.
Surprisingly enough, they were just locked into the
Yep.
event. For those who there, you could definitely tell who were fans and then who, like everybody else, right?
Mhm.
There was just like this one section that knew who everyone was, and they
Mhm.
were kind of front row in that left hand side from where we were
Mhm,
sitting, and then it was just kind of us, right?
Yep.
It was strange considering that a good chunk of the audience were kind of seeing them for the first time. Or
We
just-
were probably the most out of towners there, I would think.
You think so?
Yeah, and I was probably the oldest person in the whole crowd. in the
Well,
whole place.
yeah, you got a couple looks even from security coming in. It's
Uh-huh.
like, what are
What's
you
this
doing
guy
here?
doing
What's
here?
this
Yeah,
guy doing?
Yeah, when the guy patted me down, he goes, "Oh, okay, in your left pocket, that's an inhaler, right?" And I said, "You got it." So he felt the inhaler, and he knew that's what it was.
And that was really fun. Yeah. And then after the event, we went out and had dinner at the Tribeca Grill,
Right.
which was real nice.
Very well-known restaurant in New York, in Manhattan, Lower Manhattan.
Yeah, excellent. We had a couple cocktails.
Yeah.
Very good dinner. Then we had some cognacs to finish up. So
$339 bill.
oh Jesus!
That was a beauty. Well worth it.
Well,
First night.
first night,
And tomorrow night's Flatiron District.
and then tomorrow we're doing Flatiron District.
Yeah.
So, my favorite matches was we'll get to the main event again because that was definitely the best one, I think. I really enjoyed the two stories being told between Absolute Andy and Chris Brooks, because Chris Brooks is part of Schadenfreude, the new stable that's joined the promotion, kind of NWO-esque. And Absolute Andy, who's now lost the title recently, and he's kind of in this crux of he wants his title back. It's his title.
Yeah. It belongs to me.
It belongs to me.
It's my title.
As he said to us. It was really funny post-match. So I really like that story going on. David Starr, Lucky Kid. David Starr can't beat Walter. He really wants to beat him. He lost at the previous event to fight Mueller, who's another member of Ring Comp. That's a stable. So he's facing Lucky Kid because Lucky Kid's just like, I beat Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you? You'll do it someday. It's like, oh yeah, well, I'll kick your ass in New York. And David Starr lost, and he gets on the mic. He cuts a real good promo. What'd you think of the promo?
No, I thought he was, but he still lost though. But
Sure.
he lost. So he's trying to make up with his talking.
Yeah.
But he still lost, and he's the one that quit WXW tonight.
Yes.
So that's a sore loser as far as I'm concerned.
Oh.
I'm not impressed by him.
Oh, no.
He's a sore loser.
You're not impressed by the progressive Jew?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's a sore loser.
Oh, well, I think that's the character because the story is he can't beat him. He's never beaten him, right? In any circumstance.
He's never beaten Lucky Kid?
No, he's never beaten this guy named Walter.
Oh, okay. Well, now he can't beat Lucky Kid.
Well, now he can't beat anybody.
Yeah.
He's lost like 3 matches in a row.
So he's a sore loser.
And he's all bent out of shape.
So he's quitting.
Yeah. And Walter won't give him a rematch because he's like, I already beat you.
So he's
20
finished.
times.
He might as well just go home.
Might as well go home. Yeah, he put on the his promo was interesting. He called the fans basically hypocrites because you're all here at this independent promotion supporting independent wrestling, but you're also the same people that were here just 20 minutes ago chanting NXT, right? And then the fans were making fun of him because you can't beat Walter, doing the na 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 hey goodbye, and he just goes goodbye. Oh yeah, I quit. And he just walks away, and everyone's like, what?
Well,
It's kind of shocking.
Quitter doesn't get much respect.
No, it does make for an interesting story on like, does he try to come back and negate his decision, or
Of course, that's his whole plan.
Right? Or
that's what I think.
Does he go to a different promotion now and try and meet him there, and then does the same thing?
He'll make a comeback. He's going to try to make a Tiger Woods style comeback.
Okay. All right.
So come back and beat somebody, whether it be Lucky Kid or whoever, Walter.
It's got the objective at the end of the brick road is Walter.
Yeah.
That's the guy he wants to beat at the end of the day. And Lucky Kid continues his momentum of being the guy who just...
I don't think Lucky Kid's going anywhere.
Why is that?
I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of charisma.
Really?
Yeah. I just don't see him like becoming a belt holder.
You don't think he's good enough for the top belt?
I don't think he's a belt holder.
No.
Nope.
You think he's just a crowd favorite that...
Yeah, people like
it?
him. He's Lucky Kid, so... But I don't think he's going to be a belt holder.
So is it like his size or his character?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
His whole demeanor.
Yeah, he's the penguin of Germany.
Okay. So who is from what you saw tonight like a belt holder type person then?
Oh, well, I mean, certainly the current champion is a representative of a bona fide belt holder, and I don't know that at this point I don't know that I saw anybody tonight that would be a great contender to take that belt away.
That's an interesting
strong.
point.
He's strong.
So that then kind of goes with why Joey Janela showed up at the end, because then you were immediately like, hell yeah, right?
Well, that's because he's a Jersey boy, but
and that's your bread and butter.
He looked the part. So, maybe he can go over to Germany and take the belt. I don't know if that's allowed, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
So maybe maybe that's the next big promoter right there.
Absolutely,
Joey Janela.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting take, since everything we saw tonight, you don't really see the next guy, and then they bring out the guy at the end to kind of shock you. So that kind of goes with your train of thinking. So that's good, yeah. So let's finish off with the main event. We had Bobby Guns defending against Shigehiro Irie, the big Japanese dude.
Japanese dude didn't stand a chance.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Because in the past, he's beaten him more than once.
No, I don't.
For a time, the story was Bobby Guns couldn't beat him.
Yeah, he needs to stick with sumo wrestling because he's not going to beat Bobby Guns. Bobby Guns is too slick for him.
He's too slick. King
Yeah.
of Smoke Style's too good.
Forget it. Yeah, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Yeah, they did some wild moves there. There was some technical, some power hitting, and then I think where it really went up a notch in the match was when they were on the apron, and then Irie gives Bobby Guns the big pile driver on the apron. Like, everyone just goes, are you kidding me?
But Bobby Guns can take it.
Oh, he can. You like that?
Well, he reminds me of Bret Hitman Hart. You know, he could take a hit.
That's an interesting comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he has a lot of technical ability, and
Yeah,
that's what
right.
he focuses on. So that's, in that aspect, sure.
Hitman Hart was one of the greatest ever.
Still my favorite of all time.
Yes, there you go.
Hard to top.
So that's what Bobby Guns kind of reminded me of. The class act.
The class act, the ground style. You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's your favorite.
Yeah.
With some hard hitting and
Well, hard hitting, but then all of a sudden, you know, when the time is right, he made the right move.
sure. So there was a few other moves that seemed pretty dangerous in the main event. There was the German suplex in which Irie threw Guns over his head and he landed on his neck real hard.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just went, "Oh!" You know, they gasped.
That's brutal. Yeah.
The one that scared me the most was the running, like Michinoku package sit out pile driver where he ran across the ring. The dude was on his shoulders,
Yeah.
and he just sits out and sits on his head real hard. That one scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was over. I honestly thought it was over in that on that move
Mm-hmm.
because it was just so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for all I knew, Guns broke his neck. Right?
He came back.
He came back and one with the what'd you think of the finish with that wild armbar?
Yeah.
They had him in the
that was
triangle and turned him
that's what
over a couple
wrestling's
times.
That's what true wrestling's all about.
That's what gets you.
Those moves, you know, that they make them at the right time.
So the finish was perfect. You
It's
loved it.
It's like hitting a home run in the bottom of the ninth to win the
good.
game. There you go.
Good stuff.
All over but the crying.
So last question is, what'd you think of all the chopping to the chest and the forearms to the jaw?
Well, you know, that's a little overdone. I don't know that does a lot of damage. I think that's a little more of the part of the show of everything. I think the moves are the thing that determines what the finish is going to be.
Was it entertaining, or does it not add anything to you?
I don't think it adds a whole lot for me. I think the moves are what what makes it, and that's what determines the winner.
Okay. Well then, we shall pick this up
Continue
again
this tomorrow.
tomorrow night
good.
when we get back from Stardom.
Yeah, there you go. Guten Dank.
Alrighty, so here we are, JD and Dad, back from 2 nights. We have to re-record Stardom because we were too drunk after the show to do it. But then we just got back from G1 Supercard. Let's talk about Stardom first, the women's promotion from Friday night. Father?
Yeah, well, I enjoyed that very much. The girls are very athletic. And my favorite was Maya Iwatani. Iwatani was fabulous with her backwards 1.5 laid out back flip and landed it perfectly on top of her opponent. And she had big air. And I thought that was the most athletic move that I've seen in the entire 3 nights, actually. So that was the premium single event for me.
Yeah, you really popped for that moment. You just looked
it.
at me and
I
touched me at my shoulder, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah. So the Stardom show was also over in the Queens. met up with fellow podcaster JPQ prior to the event. Had some beers at a place called the District Tap House. Pretty cool place. Quite liked it.
Yeah, met the guy from Australia and the black dude that was sitting there, and I went Chauncey Phillips, Chauncey
Phillips
on him, on those two guys. They were shocked, including JD. You were very shocked.
Yeah, telling jokes. It was fun.
So yeah, that was good. And then we had a great dinner, and then got real drunk.
Oh yeah,
After dinner that night. So Friday night was the biggest party night.
Whistle Pig was the
Whistle
drink of
Pig was
choice.
ridiculous. And closed the bar in Manhattan.
We did close the bar in Manhattan. So we go to the Stardom show. The show started late. Apparently, what happened was the event prior, that showed just before it. A lot of people got real drunk there, so that's why the floors were pretty sticky.
Mm-hmm.
So they were pretty rowdy too, and the bottom rope broke
Right.
during their event. So Stardom was late starting up. Tried to fix the bottom rope. They were about 15, 20 minutes behind. People were saying online that the feed was just blank most of the time, or it was just them setting it up. But that ended up being a blessing in disguise in the end, because the merch lines were crazy.
Yeah. What the worst of the 3 nights was Friday night merchandise line.
Oh yeah,
That was ridiculous.
yeah. The merch line at WXW was all right. That was really cool though, with all the wrestlers like hanging out selling their stuff. That's kind of the benefit
That's cool.
to that. I don't know if we mentioned that how weird the crowd was at WXW. Seemed like most of the people didn't know kind of who the guys were they were watching or any of the stories going on.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like they were just there because it was a wrestling show to go to for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, back to Stardom. There was the one merch line, and you had to buy meet and greet tickets in the merch line, and they were like $20. So, if you want to do it, that was cool. But yeah, for the whole like first 40 minutes of the event, you were just in the merch line, just hoping to get even one T-shirt.
Yeah.
By the time I finally got up there, the first match was.
But you ended up making out like a bandit. So.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. I got the specialty event shirt. A couple for my my friend, and after the show, I was just standing around with you and JP, and a guy offered to buy the shirt off my back because I was wearing it at that point for double the price.
Yeah.
And give me the same shirt of his, just in a
$40
larger size.
profit.
Yeah, it's really funny. But there were the main takeaway was Hana Kimura was really over. All her stuff sold out like immediately. So did the Momo Watanabe individual T-shirt. But all the merchandise was totally gone. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So Hana Kimura had a real good showing. She got the win in the tag match there. Hazuki successfully defended the high-speed title in a quick little 5-minute match against Dust. Indie wrestler, Dad. Don't worry about it. Hazuki was the one with the leggings.
Mm-hmm.
Real pretty looking.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then the train was good too. The Long Island Railroad, that was cool.
Yeah, we took the train out there, and that was
good.
that was really
That
nice. Good ride. Get the ticket right on the app,
Mm-hmm.
as we found out. And then there was a singles match. Momo Watanabe defending the white belt against Utami Hayashishita.
Mm-hmm.
That was my favorite match of the night. Big Momo fan, watching her live and perform. It was very special. Great match. It was 17 minutes. It seemed like it was cut short because of the difficulties they were having to start up the event. What did you think of that match?
I'm having trouble remembering all of them because I'm just not as up on it. The names.
Well, yeah, you've seen like 30 matches this weekend, so
so it's key one was Maya, so
Yeah,
I'll stick with that one.
yeah. So Momo successfully defended against her own stablemate. Big moment was definitely when Utami had her in the torture rack up on her shoulders and cranking away. I kind of thought that might have been the end there. So I had my disbelief suspended. And a very good ending sequence. Then the elimination match, 4v4 Oedo Tai versus Stars, and like you said, ends with it ended with Kagetsu spitting mist in Jamie Hayter's face, Mayu laying her out because of the miscommunication there, and then doing the real nicely executed moonsault. Just beautiful. Nice little fun moment at the end. They're saying thank you in English, and they're adorable voices. And everybody was happy and went home. It was just real short. It was just over 90 minutes in the end, so I think that was the only complaint a lot of people had was the event was just over before you knew it. So, and then we got out there and got real drunk afterwards. So it was super fun. And then today was G1 Supercard.
Madison Square Garden.
It's midnight. We just got back past midnight now. Just got back from the 6-hour event. Whew. So what were your expectations going into this?
I really didn't have too many.
Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden, is awesome in itself, but a lot of events, a lot of wrestling, but I have to say that certainly I enjoyed the ladder match, and Traber was the winner, which is
Taven.
Taven. What is it?
Taven.
Taven, yeah, and he was certainly not the crowd favorite, but
a lot of "fuck you, Taven" chants.
A lot of chants and stuff. But I thought that everybody was pretty shocked when Taven won. So I mean, that was a good match, and of course, the Rainmaker against the Switchblade, the current champion, and the titles for the heavyweight championship. The titles back in Japan's hands, so that was a pretty good ending, I thought.
That's right. It was a very good storybook ending, you might say.
Yeah.
I mean, so just quickly go through the card, I guess, and maybe get your thoughts over the matches, because this was the big night. We got to see Oedo Tai again, Hazuki and Kagetsu, against
very disappointed in
Hana Kimura.
Usually losing her title to.
Oh, we'll get there in a second for sure. So a decent little opener. Then we had the Battle Royal Rumble style. Got to see it started off with Kenny King and Minoru Suzuki 1-2, and no one really cared about Kenny King at all.
And that match actually got real drawn out. I mean, it got too long.
It was
too long.
It
just went on. It was too long, and it was kind of a weird ending.
It was strange, yes. You could tell a lot of the wrestlers, there was a lot of miscommunication, really sloppy in places. It was more, because it was an opener, that match was more about appearances and kind of just being around kind of deal.
Yeah.
So Minoru Suzuki's pop when his music hit was real loud. And he stayed in the match for quite some time, which was real nice to see.
Yeah.
Him and Ishii at one point,
nearly to the end.
Yeah, him and Ishii had their moment, and that's what led to that elimination. We got to see King Haku make an appearance in the match. He took out Colt Cabana and Yano. Fun little comedy spots there. Liger, unsurprisingly, got a massive pop when his music hits. Everybody wanted Liger to win this thing. And even at number 30, the great Muda came out of all people. Mm-hmm. And that just blew everyone's mind, including my own. Everyone just goes, what? Mm-hmm. Ishii had a good little run in there. Bad Luck Fale took out the junior tag champions. And then it ends with a standoff between Liger and Muda as the last two. And those two were facing off against the two members of the Kingdom. That's Matt Taven's group.
Mm-hmm.
So they eliminated them. It was down to Muta and Liger. And then at the very end, Kenny King, at one point, got thrown out, but the refs didn't see him. He hit under the ring, and that led to him throwing them both out. So everyone hated it. They're like, Kenny King, mother of God. And then Liger and Muta get back in the ring. Muta, Red Death mists him, and, everyone was happy after that.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
First match of the night was Will Ospreay, Jeff Cobb, TV title versus Never Openweight title, in which we saw Jeff Cobb win. What'd you think of the match? Big Hawaiian, you remember big flippy dude against the big Hawaiian dude?
Yep. That's a fact.
What'd you think?
Good. I mean, like I said, there are a lot of matches, so I'm kind of foggy on some of them, but I remember the Cobb guy. He was like a favorite, wasn't he?
I mean, he wasn't the favorite.
Crowd favorite.
Oh, crowd favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of fans behind us wanting Jeff Cobb to win for sure. Let's see. Second match, I believe, was the women's match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all going off memory here as well. It was a long night. The women's match, Mayu Iwatani defending the title against Kelly Klein. And Kelly Klein wins.
Yeah, I was very disappointed in that. And Kelly Klein was just very slow and not very athletic and
pretty sloppy too.
Sloppy, yeah, and just I was very disappointed in that match. But so.
Yeah, Mayu did her best, pretty much wrestling by herself.
Mm-hmm.
From what we could see, she had a couple good spots, jumping off the turnbuckle down to the outside. Doing her moonsault, she just didn't hit it this time.
Right.
And then post-match, the Beautiful People, formerly from Impact Wrestling, I haven't seen them in many years. They made an appearance and even had, I think it was Mandy Leone, jump Kelly Klein from behind. So the Beautiful People, they're now going by the name Allure. It's like ALLU umlauts RE. So that's their little group now. Yeah. Kind of odd. The match before the women's one was Roosh versus Dalton Castle, the dude with the giant peacock and all his little boy helpers.
Yeah, that was a funny one because he lost and then he beat his two helpers up, right?
Yeah, he lost in 16 seconds.
Yeah, and he's shocker, and he beat his two helpers up, and he laid those both out and walked off the stage, so walked out of the ring. So
yeah, that was real wild. I actually kind of like that booking.
He got buried in the corner there. Yes, that's right. The guy charged him like 3 times, and the match was over. So
yeah,
and he wasn't happy at all.
Yeah,
and his little helpers were scared.
Yeah, they were all sad.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. That was a crowd shocker.
Oh, man. Moving on. We got the tag title. Well, let's move to the tag title match, because that was definitely that was the thing that happened. That was the fatal four-way double tag title match.
Right. Yeah.
We saw PCO have an interesting entrance. The big Frankenstein guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was odd. He came out last in the entrance. They did this like electric chair thing, but it didn't really come across in the audience well at all. Like you couldn't really tell what was happening. It was all dark and a lot of electricity gimmick stuff. You get what they were going for. Yeah. It just didn't work out. Yeah. Speaking of which, I loved all the entrances tonight.
Yeah,
a lot of pyros, smoke.
Yeah, the special effects were done quite well.
Yeah, that was cool. So what ends up the match only goes about 8 minutes. The tag title match, not very long, and Guerrillas of Destiny win the match. So they retain their Japan tag titles and win the ROH ones. But right at the end, Enzo and Cass throws like a drink. They're talking shit to like Mark Briscoe and Brody King on the outside.
Who was in the audience, right?
Yeah, and they throw a drink on Mark Briscoe, and then they jump the barricade and they start getting into a shoot fight. and none of the cameras were focused on him. It was just the audience reacting. You see Girls of Destiny in the ring just going, come on. You could hear Tama Tonga say, fuck you, ROH.
Well, it was a real fight, though.
It sure seemed
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were throwing hard
Security
punches.
came, and
Security was late on it.
yeah, but they came down.
They did eventually come down. So that was really strange. Audience just couldn't stand it. It was ruining the moment. Whether it was planned out by Ring of Honor or not, New Japan certainly had no idea because the New Japan guys just left, right?
Mhm.
So they weren't happy, clearly. And the audience just does not want to see those guys, Enzo and Cass.
Mhm.
They just go away, pretty much. But there was a at least in our section, they seemed to be liking.
Pretty excited about
They were
it
pretty excited about it. So
because it was a real fight.
yeah,
Appeared to be anyhow. So people were videoing it. And,
yeah. I guess when more things come out about it, work or shoot or not, it did get quite the reaction.
mhm.
One of my favorite matches was the Triple Threat Junior title match. That one was only about 8 minutes as well. That was Bandito, Dragon Lee, and Taishi Ishimori. That one was just high-speed craziness until the spot that I really jumped out of my seat for was Bandito doing the double Irish car bomb.
Mhm.
So that's when both dudes were on the turnbuckle and he scooped them and did a backflip.
Yeah.
But you were really confused on that one, weren't you?
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't know who won the maneuver. So I guess the guy in the middle.
No, the guy on the bottom did the
Yeah. Yeah.
the move.
So it was a little bit strange.
Yeah. But Dragon Lee wins the title.
Mhm.
Cool stuff. I thought I was hoping for a Hiromu Takahashi appearance, but I guess that'll be saved for Japan at some point down the line. He was a guy that was injured by him, and
Mhm.
he hasn't come back yet.
Mhm.
So that's the story there.
Yeah.
Naito defending the Intercontinental title against Kota Ibushi.
Huh.
Match went over 20 minutes. What'd you think?
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember
I
it at all?
really don't. No, not hard. No, I don't. I just
Because that was
a
like
lot
match of the
matches.
night.
Yeah, a lot of matches. Well, match of the night was Switchblade. Right?
Oh, that was your match of the night?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
that's a good one, for
Yeah.
sure.
definitely.
Yeah, maybe this will jog your memory. The Ibushi Naito match was the one people were the loudest for before the last one.
Mhm.
No?
No, it's not ringing a bell.
Huh. Short memory then.
Well, it's my first time,
Yeah.
for all these. I don't know the names.
I guess all the
so-
names, yeah. Well, I mean, we at least Mayu stuck out with you.
Oh, yeah.
The ladder match stuck out.
Yep.
Okada for
Yep.
sure.
Sure, absolutely.
Zack Sabre Jr. defended the. I'll get back to Ibushi and Naito right quick, but Zack Sabre Jr. against Tanahashi for the British title. Zack did a lot of manipulation, limb manipulation, kind of Tana coming back so super good and smooth. I love the match. That went. I think it was. I got it written down somewhere, but it was I think that was a 17-minute match.
Yeah,
That
it's
was-
a long one.
I really liked it. I always like a good technical match because I can just kind of sit back and just phase into what's happening in the ring.
Right. Because some of them get into the punching too much, and
Right, and
slapping,
that
and
one
it
was-
just
that one-
gets going drawn out.
Yeah,
a
that
little
one
bit.
went way different than a lot of
Yeah.
the other matches. That's why I always like watching Zack Sabre Jr. because he's so different than everyone else.
Mhm.
It's an acquired taste at some point, but not everything has to be the same, right? But yeah, back to Ibushi and Naito. There was a few slop drops, on the necks and whatnot, because I guess they want to kill each other. But it was high octane. The crowd in Madison Square Garden for that match was insane.
Uh-huh.
That was the one where you could feel the ground shaking underneath
Oh
you.
yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
It was nuts. Nobody know who was going to win at any time. Both guys were super over favorite with the crowd. I really enjoyed just the flow of that match and the speed and how it just maintained that pace from start to finish.
Mhm.
And they had a good character with it all. Even Ibushi did a whole Shinsuke Nakamura callback with the Bumaye. That was when he went in the corner and then ran his knee into Naito's face twice.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was really cool. What did you think of the street fight? That was the one with all the weapons and tables and...
Yeah, that was kind of different. They just kind of beat the crap out of each other with the sticks. Everybody had a stick,
Yeah,
big stick, and beaten. And the one guy had welts on his back.
yeah.
I mean, that was just
You could feel the cringe in the crowd just going, ooh.
yeah, right, with the tables and the sticks and everything. So that was one of the more brutal ones.
Yeah, so that match was supposed to be Bully Ray's open street fight challenge. And then Flip Gordon was apparently injured, quote unquote, seems to be at work now. And then Juice Robinson was scheduled for the match, but then they showed him, he got beaten up backstage. And yeah, but then when he came out, he was totally fine. It was kind of odd. So Flip Gordon ends up coming out. And, not to mention that Bully Ray almost beat up the rapper that was in.
The rapper.
Nobody
Yeah, he
liked
was
the
pretty
rapper.
funny. Yeah, I didn't like him.
Yeah. So Flip Gordon comes out, and then Bully Ray's friends come out.
But then he got kind of beat up too.
Oh yeah, Bully Ray
Yeah.
pushed him down
Yeah.
real hard.
So
He gets in Bully Ray's face, and Bully Ray's like kicks him out. He's like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing? Get out of here!"
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but ended up becoming a 3 versus 3 hardcore match, basically.
Yeah.
And the welts that Flip Gordon got was like, he got cut up so bad
Yeah.
on his back, the kendo stick shots.
And he was daring him to do it.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's like, hit me,
All
do
three
it.
of them were beating on him.
Yeah, it's crazy. What am I forgetting here besides the main event? Oh, the ladder match.
Yeah, the ladder match we talked about, that was one of my favorite ones. It was pretty brutal. And the winner was a shocker for the crowd.
Yeah.
The crowd couldn't believe it.
Crowd didn't want him to win, that's for
No, they
sure.
didn't want him to win. So they wanted the other guy to win.
Skrull.
Yeah, but I enjoyed that. It was pretty wild. That was one of the more brutal ones.
Yeah, a lot of the ladder spots looked like it hurt pretty bad. Even a fan got taken out.
Yeah, that's right.
What ended up happening on that spot was at one point
Two ladders were fastened together, and the one dude threw him over the rope, and then
it just
kind of catapulted into the big.
it
front
bounced
crowd
into
there,
him.
Yeah. So
that was awful. My favorite spot in the ladder match was probably besides the final spot, which got Taven the win, but it was the Macho Man Randy Savage elbow drop off the ladder through the table to Taven.
Yeah.
My issue was Taven got up after that, like after 90 seconds. He was already up, like it never happened. So that kind of bugged me.
Ended up winning.
Yeah, and then he ended up winning. The final, I did like Marty Scurll grabbing the umbrella to try and get the title.
Yeah.
But then they never really called back to it after that.
It was a good idea, though.
It was a good idea. There was a lot of interesting ideas for this match. That match was 29 minutes and a half.
Yeah.
So it went by really fast. It was really fun. But yeah, Taven like worked his ass off. Like he seemed to always have a place and spot with it all. And he was working the crowd anytime like Marty was about to get something out of the crowd, whether it was his finger snapping or his chicken wing or anything, Taven would immediately stop it and the crowd would just boo the piss out of him. So, his entrance, no one gave a shit about him. But by the end of the match, everyone hated him. And I think in a good way. He is the bad guy you're supposed to hate him. So, I'm not a fan of Taven being the champion right now, but we'll see. See what happens there. But that last spot where the ladder was, you had the ladder in the center of the ring, and then on both sides of the ladder was like a bridge of two ladders.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Skrull gets knocked off
I'm not
real
sure
hard.
what he was trying to do there, but
Well, Skrull gets knocked off real hard, and then Taven swings the belt that was suspended into Jay Lethal's face, and Lethal goes backwards onto the suspended ladder, and that was the final spot.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. Like, Lethal took some wicked bumps in that match.
They just grabbed it and he had it. That was
Yeah.
it.
And then our final match of the night,
Yeah, big
Jay White, champion, versus
Switchblade.
Switchblade Jay White from New Zealand, defending the title against Kazuchika Okada.
Mm-hmm. And
The Rainmaker.
And all in all, I mean that was a good match, but not a lot of big athletic moves in that one. Not real impressed with it.
Not compared to some of the other ones.
Right? Yeah, I mean not really. A lot of slapping and just I wasn't overly impressed with it.
Oh. But that was your favorite one of the night.
Well, yeah, because it had a lot of excitement to it, but and it put the title back in Japan's hands. But I think it could have been. It started out pretty slow.
Well, it was a 31-minute match.
Yeah,
it was no joke. Yeah,
long time. So, I was expecting a little more athleticism in it. That was probably that was a little bit of disappointment for me, but it was a great match.
Well, that would have been the Naito Ibushi one.
Mm-hmm.
That had all the athleticism.
Yeah. So.
And the triple threat junior title match.
Yeah.
But I think you went to the bathroom for a good chunk of that one.
Uh-huh.
So, all right. Well, then, all 3 nights, WXW, Stardom, and G1 Supercard. What was your favorite event, and who was your favorite person?
Mayu
Iwatani?
Yeah.
I sure hope you can remember the name someday.
Mayu Iwatani.
Mayu
Iwatani.
Iwatani.
Yeah,
You'll get it someday.
Yeah. She was impressive. That
That's
was my
awesome.
Favorite. That was my favorite.
And your favorite event?
Yeah, that
Stardom.
one. Yeah.
Stardom was also your favorite.
It was, yep.
And your favorite match of the week?
Maya.
Everything. Mayu, Dad.
Mayu.
Jeez. Mayu.
It's Japanese names. I don't, can't remember them. Mayu.
Thank you.
She was my favorite.
So the elimination match, main event, Stardom, Mayu Iwatani. There you go. So
there you go. That's it.
I'm honestly shocked. I thought that would have been your least favorite out of all three.
Nope.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
Well, cool. Well, this was a super fun weekend.
Yeah, sure was.
Maybe
we'll have to do it again.
Maybe I'll have to get you to keep watching some more wrestling shows and get your thoughts after them.
Well, maybe I'll watch some with Sawyer.
There you go.
Get Sawyer into it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I have a bunch of streaming services, so you can just pick one and watch them on the computer.
Yeah, I'll have to try that.
Yeah. All right, this was JD and his dad. Dad, why don't you say goodbye to the audience?
Okay, audience. Thank you. Great weekend.
And we're back with WCW Thunder episode 19, which took place June 4th, 1998. We are 10 days out from the Great American Bash, and everything's being built very well. I'm very excited to see that pay-per-view. We start Thunder off with a recap of the absolute insane Monday Night Nitro, where the main event was Sting coming down from the ceiling into the ring to confront Hogan and Giant as they were beating down Nash and Luger because they had a tussle, you might say. Which NWO side is Sting gonna choose? It's been the question building for weeks now because the Wolfpack are a thing. Bret Hart's trying to recruit Sting. Hogan wants Sting. Giant wants Sting because they're the tag champions. Well, Sting takes off his sick coat and he reveals NWO black and white shirt. Hogan hugs him. Giant's all excited. He's got the ring ropes. He's yelling at the crowd. And then Sting double crosses. Clotheslines Hogan, slams the Giant. They exit the ring. Lex Luger looking at Sting in his eyes. He's like, what does this mean? Sting rips off the black and white shirt, revealing underneath the red and black. Sting is Wolfpack boys. Oh, awesome stuff. What a way to recap and start off Thunder, if you ask me. Now we get a recap of the best of 7 series that's going on between Benoit and Booker T. And this is just to become the #1 contender for the TV title, which Dave Fit Finlay currently has. Excuse me as I take some water. So yeah, just to recap this, Fall 1 was from Nitro. Benoit wins via crossface. Fall 2 was from Thunder last week, in which Booker T wins off a missile dropkick. Fall 3 was from WCW Saturday Night, where Benoit won with a quick catch German suplex. And then Fall 4 was just a few days ago on Nitro, where Benoit crossfaces Booker T, and it does a cool little they did a cool little booking here where Booker T slithers towards the ropes, and he goes to grab him, but after just a couple seconds, he tries again, couldn't do it, and he taps out. So, it's been an awesome series to see unfold. Benoit is up 3-1 in the series. So if Benoit wins this match here coming up, he's the #1 contender for the TV title. So this is make or break for Booker T time. Thunder starts off with match 5. So we're still here, and what a match it was. Benoit and Booker T were hot fire straight from the bell. The crowd was into it. Stevie Ray ends up hitting ringside to cheer on Booker T. He's like, "Come on, remember where you come from, boy." Just a real good back and forth match. And then just as it looks like Booker T is going to lose, Benoit seems to let himself get distracted by jaw-jacking Stevie Ray on the outside. And Booker T kind of looks at it, and he goes up to the top rope, hits that last-ditch missile drop kick, and he gets one back. So it goes to 3-2. So, obviously, the guess is that it's going to go 3-3 on Nitro, and then the winner will be on Thunder just before Great American Bash. Kind of go home. You can kind of see that booking developing here. How is it going to unfold? Our question. The Giant comes out. He cuts a promo kicking Sting out of his team, saying, "You are no longer my tag team title partner. I'm electing a new partner to hold these tag titles with me," and he announces Bryan Adams as his new partner to hold the tag titles. Commentary immediately questions the legality of it all. They're just like, "Can he do that?" And Bobby Heenan goes, "I don't think so, but he is doing it." So then, after a few more words exchanged from Adams and Giant calls for a challenge to Lex Luger to find a tag team partner, and the tag titles will be on the line. Awesome, but I think there's no way this match doesn't end with a DQ finish. I mean, it's Thunder, for Christ's sake. It's NWO. I can, visually see the trash flying into the ring already with that DQ finish, but we'll see. We'll see. Next match is Big Doof Man Reese of the Flock, taking on former Flock member Von Hammer. And as we do, Lodi's sign of the day is Mortis steals cable. That monster who steals cable. Yes, that was a thing back in the day. This match just wasn't good. It ends with Hammer getting cracked from behind from a member of the Flock with a stop sign. Reese does a double choke slam. Double choke. He gets the win. The Flock starts beating down Hammer until Juventud comes out, of all people, for the save. And before those Flock numbers, the numbers game catches up to take down Juvi, Hammer actually shields Juvi from some blows and pulls him out of the ring, kind of saving him. So even though the match wasn't good, I liked the booking, and I loved the whole Juvi saving and Hammer kind of getting out of dodge so they don't get the shit kicked out of them by the Flock. So that story continues, which is really cool to see. A little build for everybody. It's not being overbooked right now, so we'll see where this goes. Alex Wright, German wrestler, comes out. He's got the disco gimmick kind of thing going on, or Eurobeat gimmick is what I should say. He comes out, and Eddie Guerrero is his opponent. He follows. Eddie cuts a promo telling Chavo to like get some therapy, cool off, work your mental state out kind of deal. And the match goes on for about a couple minutes, and it's quickly thrown out because Chavo comes out. The crowd reacts very well to Chavo coming out. Chavo is having this like split personality of anger and sadness towards Eddie Guerrero. And then he hits the ring. Eddie ducks. Chavo ends up kind of hitting Alex Wright. And so the match is DQ'd, thrown out. Alex Wright gets the win here. And then it cuts to Eddie walking backwards up the ramp as Chavo's like going crazy. He's obsessed, right? I'm loving this crazy obsessed version of Chavo Guerrero. He's like, "No, Eddie, you're my uncle, family. Oh, I love you. Hit me, Eddie, I need it." And Eddie's just like, whoa, calm down. So whatever's gonna happen at the Bash, I'm looking forward to that. It's just good character work here. Very into the whole Eddie Chavo storyline. It's also worth noting that Alex Wright got a win over Chavo on Nitro a few nights prior. So good story there. Tony Schiavone in the ring to interview Lex Luger, in which then Lex cuts a promo saying, due to Sting coming on board with the Wolfpack, the Red and Black have assigned Luger as head of recruitment for them. And his first recruitment of order is he accepts the Giants Tag Team title challenge, and his first recruit goes by the symbol of a diamond. Crowd pops. Luger wants DDP to be part of the team. Now the question is, what will DDP decide? Shall find out in our main event. I may not be the biggest Lex Luger fan in the world. In fact, I am on record saying I don't like Lex Luger. However, I will be damned if this Red and Black Lex Luger isn't doing a good job. His character work's good, his promos are good, the story surrounding what he's doing is good. So, for now, I'm liking him. There you go. Next match is Finlay versus Psychosis. A good match that the crowd just didn't give a shit about. Just such a shame. Basically, this match functioned as a way to make Finlay look like a damn good champion. And even commentaries put him over very well. There were a couple pops from the crowd, such as a Psychosis top rope Hurricane Rana. That got a good reaction. But realistically, the crowd just wasn't into this match. There was boring chants that came out during it. Finlay wins via the tombstone. He's TV champion, boys. No joke. We get a match of Glacier versus Saturn. So this is continuing that story that's been developing over the Sidekick, right? Saturn stole his move, Glacier mad kind of deal. So during Glacier's entrance, Saturn actually sneaks up behind him in the ring to get a quick jump on him. So this feud's been building up for a few weeks now. They finally have a match against each other. This was an interesting match. Naturally, I'm on record saying I don't like Saturn much at all, but this was good. I was into it. The ref ends up taking a bump after, and then another ref hits the ring. But then it's revealed to be Canyon after Saturn gets hit with the reverse Russian leg sweep, otherwise known as the complete shot. The wig falls off. The referee, it is Canyon. He pulls out a Mortis mask. Glacier looks on, all like wondering what's going on because they used to have a rivalry together against each other. Mortis throws, or at least Canyon throws down the Mortis mask onto Saturn. Glacier hits the Sidekick for the win. Good stuff. I'm into it. The whole Canyon versus the Flock and Saturn kind of being pulled into the middle of it all because he's friends with Raven. I like it. Good. I'm really into this whole Flock Canyon storyline. It's good. It's good. Kurt Hennig comes out with crutches and says Conan is to take his US title spot at the Bash versus Goldberg. Conan comes out, he cuts a nice quick promo to the crowd. Crowd's into it. Orderly, viva la raza, all that stuff. He says he's got Hennig's back, and Conan says, we're gonna sweeten the deal. After I win the US title, I will give you, Hennig, the first shot. Hennig's like, oh, you would do that for me? It's like, yeah, we're bros. I got your back. And he goes, you know what? Little icing on the cake, a little cheddar. The winner will get a nice little cash money prize on top of it all. Hennig says some really bad Spanish, and he crutches away. Nice quick stuff. Wondering where that's gonna go. Malenko is still the Cruiserweight champion. He's taking on Silver King here. Match gets quickly thrown out because Jericho comes to the ring and stops the match. Rings the bell, gets in the ring, match just thrown out. Silver King is arguing with the ref. He's pissed off he lost his Cruiserweight title match. Jericho's also in a tropical bath towel for some reason. Like he just came out of the shower. It was kind of odd. Jericho pulls out the 1938 NWA rulebook, saying the champ has the first right of refusal of a challenger, proving by written law that since Malenko wasn't in the Battle Royal match, that it's null and void. So Jericho demands Malenko hands the Cruiserweight title back to him. Jericho says some choice words that gets under Malenko's skin. Malenko then cracks Jericho over the head with the title, and he walks out with the belt. Jericho gets back on the mic, and he's complaining about his head being cracked. He's so upset, and he's taken this to the highest legal authority. Guys, all these things are just... The character work's spot on. The matches are delivering, even though they're short and being thrown out. Like, this is making me want to see the Great American Bash. It's making me want to watch week to week and see how these things are developing. Nothing's convoluted. There's no authority figures involved. It's all just simplistic storybooking. I'm in love. We get Disco Inferno versus Raven. Disco Inferno tries, but ultimately Raven is not a happy guy, and he kills him. Anytime Disco Inferno gets the shit kicked out of him, I'm a happy guy. Raven calls out Mortis, or Canyon, all pissed off. Alas, no sign of Canyon this time. He was already out earlier tonight, it's fine. What about Raven? What about me? Raven's not happy. Fun stuff. U.S. title time. Hugh Morris comes out with Jimmy Hart and the Barbarian ringside to face the current 94-0 Goldberg. It, for some reason, becomes a handicap match of Barbarian and Morris. Even the commentary was confused about it because it was billed as just Hugh Morris versus Goldberg. Alas, the match lasts no more than 60 seconds. Jimmy Hart at one point gets up on the turnbuckle. Goldberg grabs him, throws him into Barbarian and Morris as they catch him, and then he double spears him. So he hits a jackhammer each on both of them. Morris last. Goldberg moves to 95 or 96-0, whatever number they decide. Crowd went apeshit for it. The intensity is crazy. Goldberg was just out of his mind in the facial expressions, as he does. This one was just extra icing on the cake. This was awesome. Usually on this cast, I just go, you know what? This match lasted 90 seconds. We move on. Goldberg wins. Whatever. This was actually really cool. It was just these two big dudes no one gives a shit about, but have been sort of booked strong. Goldberg just kicked the piss out of him. Well, all right. Main event time. For those tag team titles. And yes, DDP does in fact come out to just a hot crowd reaction. It's awesome. So that means we got Giant and Bryan Adams defending their tag titles against DDP and Lex Luger. All right. The match gets built up over 8 minutes. Luger goes for that whole babyface comeback hot tag thing because the tides were turned real quick after Adams hit a quick snap pile driver. That's when Giant and Adams kind of did the whole isolation of Luger. Luger gives DDP the hot tag, and then after some quick hot tag maneuvers from DDP, Giant kind of pulls him down. Sting immediately comes out, distracts the Giant. Sting's in the big cool red and black face paint now. Distracts the Giant with a nice slap on the ass. Giant pursues him around the ring, up the ramp, and as this is going on, DDP is kicking Bryan Adams, hits the running diamond cutter on him for the 1, 2, 3, and at the same time, fans are throwing all kinds of trash into the ring. The arena is insane right now. They can't believe what's happening. There's even full rolls of toilet paper being thrown in the ring. Forget the streamers, guys. When you go to your future events, throw the Charmin. Come on. New tag champs. Amazing pop. Wow, I was even shocked. At the top of the show, I was like, man, that's going to end in DQ. Like, no way. So DDP and Luger are celebrating in style. Like, DDP goes in the crowd as he does. And then we cut to commentary, where commentary's getting a call from Atlanta and JJ Dillon. Dillon congratulates the tag victory. However, Giant just doesn't have the authority. He doesn't have the authority to just make a new tag team partner to hold the title with him, nor does he have the right to give out the title shots. So the titles do not change, and JJ Dillon and company and the board of directors have a choice to make. And that choice is, since clearly Giant and Sting will not be getting along, they will not be in a ring together as tag team partners, a match has been made for the Bash, which is in 10 days, featuring Giant versus Sting, with the winner getting the ownership of the tag titles, and then they're allowed to choose their own tag team partner and then defend from there. So hell yes, that's awesome. Everything made sense in continuity. We got a shock booking decision, which got a huge reaction out of the crowd, got a good reaction out of me just watching it, and I love the continuity of it all. You don't have the authority. They immediately hit that on commentary when the match was the challenge was made in the first place. Holy shit, what a night of Thunder. This was awesome. Mark that down, boys. June 4th, 1998, Thunder episode 19 is my favorite night of Thunder. This was awesome to watch. I was excited the whole time. Every booking decision was cool. Every storyline progressed well. I loved it. Totally loved it. So with that, little shout out here to Retro Twitch, a retro gaming community up over on Discord. Highly recommend. The Red Leaf Retrocast are partnered up with it. You can go to RetroTwitch.com over at Twitter to find the Discord link to join. And also, join up with the Anime Radicals, which is a community group of anime podcasts coming together to bring you the Anime Radicals podcast. A good shout out there. Go check them out. The Red Leaf Retrocast is a part of it, and we're happy to be part of it. So, we're going to end this cast now with our wrestler rankings. And boy, it's a big one. So, we'll start with the women. Working up 10-1. Here we go. Natsuko Tora, good Ring of Honor title match. 9, Jordan Grace. Good showing at WXW show. Good showing at Uncharted Territory. 8, Chris Statlander. Hell, she beat AR Fox. Nothing to say there. Nothing more. 7, Andres Miyagi for her amazing white belt title match. Unfortunately, she lost. Not unfortunate for this fan. There you go. 6, 5, 4 in order. Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair. The reason why I put Charlotte Flair over the other two was I think she was easily the best performer out of the two. And the reason why I put Lynch over Rousey is because, well, she won the match. There you go. And it was the main event, WrestleMania. 3, Utami Hayashishita. She defended just about every belt she had. And she had a good white belt match at the Stardom New York show. 2, Mayu Iwatani for her amazing just performances and getting over with the crowd. Hell, she even got over with my dad as the top performer of the weekend. And then 1, shouldn't be any surprise, it is Momo Watanabe, goddess of tag team title defense, defended against Andres Miyagi, defended against Utami. She was the woman performer of the last couple weeks. And then our top 15 for the men. 15, Shigehiro Irie. 14, New Day. That does include Kofi Kingston. 13, War Raiders. 12, Ban fucking Dito for his just... I loved watching that triple threat junior title match. That was really good. His double Irish car bomb just made everyone explode out of their seats. It was nuts. 11, David Starr, Mr. Consistent. 10, Dragon Lee, new junior heavyweight champion, or junior title champion in Japan, New Japan. 9, Adam Cole. 8, Jay White for his performance. 7, Pete Dunne. 6, Johnny Takeover. Now a Grand Slam champion in NXT, the first one, I believe. 5, Daniel Bryan. That's how damn good he was in that match. 4, Walter. 3, Tetsuya Naito. 2, Ibushi for their IC title match. And 1, I gotta give it to the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. I'm wearing my Rainmaker shirt right now that I got at the G1 Supercard. If you're in a 6-hour plus show, the crowd's exhausted. We just saw Ibushi Naito just 2 matches ago, and you still get that reaction out of the crowd, and you win the IWGP title, and everyone stays for your post-match little thank you crowd promo. Dude, you're a big deal, and I thought he was just the best performer of the entire weekend. Naturally, it's my opinion, but do you disagree? Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up at Redleaf Retrocast, at BowlingJD. And with that, we'll see you next time.